Hi!
We're not here.
Oh.
I didn't make that joke last week, and people were like, you should have made that joke. And I was like, I'm going to make that joke. So,
That's a good joke.
yeah.
To be fair, the people who suggested it, that was a good joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're not here. We are still. This is still the empty arena sidewalk slam.
Yeah.
As we are in our own homes, in our own pants or not.
I'm wearing shorts.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I should have. I don't know. I opened a window. I'll be okay.
It's nice, dude. So nice outside.
Yeah. It's a beautiful day. I got to walk in it briefly.
Yeah.
But now back in here. Anyway, where is here? This is Sidewalk Slam. This is our show where we talk about wrestling storylines and narrative and production. Let me tell you, boys are going to be talking about some production today.
I'm so excited for this.
And today is it's going to be a big one because we're talking about both nights of WrestleMania. Too big for one night.
Yeah.
2 nights long.
Is that how they claimed it?
Yeah, it was too big for one night.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
it looked weird on all the graphics because it just said like it'd be like the normal graphic they have of like wrestler versus wrestler and like right in the middle, too big for one night, like in between them.
Oh, that's some innuendo.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, wrestling is also always or already a very sexual product, whether intentionally or unintentionally. And that it wasn't helping.
I'm just glad it took them until now to learn the lesson that a 6-hour show is too big for one night.
Yes. Right.
It was nice, right? It was nice, like bite size. It felt like bite size wrestling content.
Yeah, it was good. It was much more digestible watching two. Watching two,
like,
I'm glad that they didn't do all of this in one evening.
Both nights, I was like, "Damn, it's already over." I was like, look at the clock. I'm like, "Oh, whew, look at the whole evening to myself still."
Yeah, it was weird. It was different and unlike any WrestleMania, or wrestling show that we've ever seen and possibly ever will again. And I hope that they take some of the lessons that they learned and some of the experiments they tried and continue exploring those.
Yeah.
And other stuff was sort of like fine. So I guess let's get into it.
None of it was bad.
No, I didn't.
All, at worst, fine.
Yeah. At my sort of ongoing criticism through the night was like the worst thing I had to say was, I wish they'd done something more interesting with this. Right? Like if I had a criticism of a given match, it was like, this was all pre-taped. I wish they'd done something more interesting with this, you know?
Yeah.
So,
but then I think you run the risk of like bloating it, right? Like if you do too many interesting things.
Yeah. I mean, I'll talk more about what I mean.
I do want to say, I want to toot my own horn, Graham Stark.
Yeah.
Can I toot my own horn? I fucking called it, by the way.
Toot away.
I said 2 matches were going to live and die by the pre-taped.
Oh yeah.
And that was the 2 matches that were arguably the best ones on the card.
Absolutely.
So let's get this show on the road.
Yeah. Strap the hell in, everybody, especially Beej. This is going to get weird.
Yeah.
All right.
So live to tape from the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, and brought to you by Snickers. This is WrestleMania 36, Night 1.
Yeah.
What a weird thing. By the way, whenever they showed the exterior, I think they only did it like twice. But, because normally they'll be like broadcasting from, like Tampa, like it was supposed to. And they'll have like a helicopter shot of like Tampa with the stadium or whatever. So they had like a helicopter shot very, very briefly. It went by in a flash of the exterior of the Performance Center.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't do that. Because it's just like, it's just a warehouse in a light industrial park. Yeah. Like, it's not, don't do that.
It's not fancy at all.
Yeah. So the show opens with Stephanie McMahon standing in front of a CG monitor saying, basically talking about how she's like, hey, it's WrestleMania. This is going to be different. There won't be 80,000 fans due to, quote, the current circumstances, which is the WWE language for global pandemic.
Yes.
It's always, they just say the current circumstances. you know, and so she's like, on behalf of all of us, you know, thank you and welcome to WrestleMania, which sounds like something the host would say, but she is not the host because there's a different host, and we'll get to him in a moment. Then there's a
I forgot
montage
already.
Yeah, then there's a montage where they play sort of a mashup of a bunch of previous famous people singing America the Beautiful at past WrestleManias.
Yeah.
So there's like Ray Charles and John Legend and Aretha Franklin and Little Richard, like a bunch of different people who all
Fred
sing
Durst.
in very...
I'm just kidding.
He wasn't part of it, but they
Yeah.
all singing very different styles, so it was kind of weird, but it was like, all right, sure, it was nice. And then we go down to the ring in the Performance Center, where we're welcomed by Michael Cole and Hall of Famer JBL John Bradshaw Layfield.
Yes. Okay, look, I like JBL in commentary, and I was very excited.
It's interesting. On night one,
Yeah.
I had no complaints with JBL. On night two, because this was obviously all... It's obvious that all the Michael Cole JBL stuff was recorded in one shoot.
Yeah.
And all the Tom Phillips, Byron Saxton stuff was recorded in a second shoot and then split up across both nights. As the night wore on, JBL started slipping more and more into like, shut up, Michael. Like it was, he was definitely getting more of his just like random being a heel for the sake of it. But overall, he was not bad on commentary.
Yeah. Can I just ask... Also, me saying I like JBL on commentary does not mean I like JBL the person.
No, that is fair.
Yeah. Can I ask real quick? Do you mean that they did announcing, like both pairs announced separately, with probably one of them watching a taped version of the...
No. So the way that they did this, it was that there were certain matches that were Raw matches and certain matches that were SmackDown matches.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And so there was different commentary teams depending on the match, and it was either Michael Cole and John Bradshaw Layfield or Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton, and it alternated over the course of each night, just back and forth depending on what match was going on.
Right.
But Michael Cole opened night one and Tom Phillips opened night two, but it was clear that even though you saw matches called by Michael Cole and JBL on both nights, that all of their stuff was recorded in one night. Because
all the Raw stuff happened on one night and all the SmackDown stuff happened on a different night.
I think so, because it's on night two, Tom Phillips makes reference to something that happened earlier tonight, and it didn't. It happened on the prior night, right?
Neat. Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I should say actually before that, there's this very long, very involved like opening to WrestleMania trailer, which is all very like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Shot really like high contrast, cool shots of the superstars, green screened over footage, and they all have like weapons and they're fighting skeletons and stuff. And there's someone doing like a Jack Sparrow impression.
It kind of looked like it was like a budget porn version of Pirates of the Caribbean. It's like
which I believe was one of the highest grossing porn movies of all time.
Wait, what?
You've never heard of Pirates XXX?
No.
Oh, yeah, it was a big deal. They had CG skeletons and everything.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
Shit.
I have nothing to say about this.
So, and then, but like partway through, they like, it like stops and like the narrator's like, wait a minute, stop that, rewind, go back to the beginning, do it this way. All right, great. Now get the cool looking shots and like the shaky Johnny Depp impression or Captain Jack Sparrow impression. Perfect. This is how we should do it. And the thing is, it's like, it looks like something that they did because WrestleMania was weird, but there's footage in here of the various superstars like goofing around on not the right green screen backdrops, which was clearly shot at the same time. So this was always how this was going to look, even when this aired in Tampa. So it was just weird. It was fine. It was just odd and very long. It also prominently featured Roman Reigns, who is awkward. Sir not appearing on this page.
Very good joke.
All right, you want to talk about how we go down to the ring and are welcomed by our host?
Yeah, Gronky Kong. The Gronkle, man. Fuck.
What?
Yeah, Gronk. Fuck, what's his real name? Rob
Rob Gronkowski?
Yes.
Gronkowski, dude. He's in the WWE now. He signed a contract. The fucking Gronkle. We brought this came up like a few years ago. It was at a WrestleMania, and Rob, as because we're on a first name basis.
Mhm.
Robert and I. He was in the crowd, and he had a bit with Jinder Mahal.
Yeah,
and Jinder like attacked him or threw a drink in his face or something, and then he leaped the barricade and like tackled Jinder. And it was actually funny when he leaped the barricade. Somebody obviously didn't tell the security guard that Rob was allowed to jump over.
Oh.
She was like trying to stop him and stuff. It was very funny. And then the Gronk, as he's known in wider circles, embarrassed Jinder on a live pay-per-view, and he's also notoriously very good friends, like best friends with Mojo Rawley. So not only is Gronk a grade A superstar, he's also managing to keep Mojo relevant. So that's good, right? Gets Mojo a paycheck.
Do you know what Mojo Rawley has been up to?
No.
Recently,
he's been involved in like the 24/7 stuff, hasn't he?
So this was some time ago. He came out to challenge R-Truth for like a formal match for the 24/7 title.
Mm-hmm.
And he had like a guy. He had Riddick Moss from NXT, which he billed as his offensive lineman.
Yeah.
He's like, now I'm here and I got my lineman Riddick Moss with me.
Mm-hmm.
And then he wins the title, and it looks like they're sort of doing some sort of storyline. And then the next week, Riddick Moss turns on him and steals the 24/7 title. And that's it. That's like that was it. That was the whole story. And now, because I assume what they wanted Mojo freed up to do stuff with Gronk because they were signing Gronk on.
Gronk. Gotta sign Gronk. So Gronk comes in fucking dancing. It's awful. Oh, it's bad, dude.
Because he's the host.
Yeah. And he's hype, bro. He's a hype.
Can I say, I have never liked the concept of a host of WrestleMania in the way that they do it.
Okay.
Because Gronk is the host of WrestleMania. So he says, "Hey, what's up? Welcome to WrestleMania" at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
That's it, isn't it? That's all he does.
That's basically it. Like, I think he shows up once through this. The fact that they don't do any hosting. They just say hi. Like when Alexa Bliss hosted WrestleMania, she was like, "Hey, what's up? It's WrestleMania." And then like Hulk Hogan appeared, right? And it's like, that's all she did, right? Mm-hmm. When The Rock hosted WrestleMania, he's like, "Hey, it's WrestleMania." And then later he set the word rock on fire with a flamethrower. Like the hosts, they don't link parts of the show together. They don't sign off at the end. They don't say goodbye, thanks for watching WrestleMania, I've been your host, so it's a very weird thing. All they do is say hello and then F off.
The picture of The Rock at the end going, "Goodbye, thanks for watching WrestleMania," like saying, like when you're leaving Costco. The picture of like he's a greeter for WrestleMania.
Watch again sometime. Goodbye.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah.
Nice to see you. I'm The Rock.
Yeah. Hello, you might know me from such films as The Mummy.
Gronk is there. Mojo comes out and he's like, "Yeah, let's get hype. Come on, give me the chops." And then Gronk gives him a couple like chest chops.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
pretty much it.
That's it.
Yeah. That didn't fire you guys up?
No.
Oh.
I remain soundly unbonked.
Yeah, you can't bonk the Gronk, Beej. That's the whole thing, right? The unbonkable Gronk, which he will prove later on this show. On this I think it's night 2. I think it's the next night. I don't want to get too far ahead, but
yeah, we came up with that because of there was a long running joke about do not hinder the gender.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then when they got involved together, we were like, well, what about Gronk? And I think it was you, Adam, that came up with can't bonk the Gronk.
Yeah, can't bonk him, dude. He's unbonkable. It's in his contract. I would love to see his contract and just right there fucking Point one, unbonkable. But please, no bonk. You can have a bonk as a treat.
All right. Let's go to the first match.
Yeah.
The WWE Women's Tag Team Championship.
Yeah.
Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross challenging the Kabuki Warriors of Kairi Sane and Asuka.
Was there a story to this? I don't think so.
So
wasn't it just Asuka and Kairi being weird Japanese people? Like
basically, so Asuka has been on Raw, more than like many other people because they've been like, okay, Asuka, go and sit at the commentary table and just yell crap in Japanese. Because you know what? It's some sort of energy to the room. It's the thing you were talking about with the AEW empty arena shows, right?
Yeah.
It's like with her just like yelling in just like random Japanese
just JoJo references all night.
Basically,
it's a clue.
It definitely does add to the energy in the room. So she's been on a lot, just like adding random commentary to stuff. But yeah, I mean, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross have been sort of feuding with them for some time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. Yeah, and Alexa still hasn't turned on her, which we talked about a couple episodes back.
Yeah.
Which people were like really into. And now, shocking no one, the Kabuki Warriors have not been using the green mist recently.
Yeah.
The move that has Asuka fully spitting in her opponent's face.
Yeah. That would be a big no.
Because of the current situations. Mm-hmm. The current circumstances. That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Alexa and Nikki win.
Yeah,
and,
this was fine. I just think like I was talking about this with Graham before we started, and I just like there's a few matches that are just kind of just there. I don't know. I don't mean it as an insult because it was good. Like it was fun. Like I enjoyed myself. There were some matches that just didn't benefit whatsoever from an empty arena. Like the quiet, and where you can hear. Like I am not a big fan of. I don't know. Like I don't like Asuka just yelling random Japanese things. It just doesn't do it for me. You know what I mean? And I think in the empty arena, it just sounds weird to me.
So overall, it bothered me when wrestlers were still playing to an audience.
Yeah.
Instead of to the camera. And I don't know why, but like when they would pose and look at the wall where the hard cam was, they weren't looking at the camera. They were looking just off the camera. And it's so weird. And it's like the times when wrestlers worked with the cameras and acknowledged them and like talked directly to the cameras. Like this is in the future, but like the Raw tag titles, Montez Ford comes out and like goes like, whoa, haha, Wrestlemania, like directly into a camera. And it was like, oh, that was great. That was the connection. We need that.
Yeah.
And there was just a lot of like the wrestlers almost acting like the cameras aren't there, which is fine when there's a crowd that they're playing to. But when there's no crowd, they needed to like to interact with the audience at home and like pull them in by acknowledging that these cameras existed. And they just didn't.
Is that like an artifact of the fact that they've probably most of them maybe haven't had to work shows where there's like been no crowd?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure some of them have had to work shows with no crowds. A large majority of them, like when they're first starting off and stuff like that, like
not with no crowd and cameras. Yeah. So it's. I imagine a lot of this is muscle memory.
Yeah.
That just like we ignore the cameras. They do their job. We do ours. We don't play to the camera unless it's in very particular circumstances. But just, it felt, a lot of it felt like you were just sort of you were observing this weird thing. Like normally you are observing, as an audience watching at home, you are observing the wrestlers interact with the audience. But with no audience to interact, you're just observing them pantomime. And it's odd. And so I wish that they'd played. This is my general note for the whole night. I wish they'd played more to the cameras. When they look in the direction of the hard cam, I wish they'd looked into the hard cam. And I wish that they had done more interesting. I wish they hadn't had so many matches like this that were just pure live to tape like they always do. I wish they'd taken a little extra time to get some more interesting camera angles that you wouldn't have been able to get otherwise.
Yeah.
You know, because you had opportunities.
Yeah,
to
they still shot
to
it
do
like
that.
normal, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of the in arena stuff like was just very by the books, and they used the same camera angles that we're used to seeing week in and week out kind of thing, where they could have done, you know, like above the ring and like a top down kind of like stuff, and just didn't really, even on the like the ladder match and stuff, they didn't even do anything like that.
Yeah, I would have liked to have like, you know, like when someone's lining up for a big move, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Just have like a director be like, okay, wait, everyone freeze, cameras move to this position now, okay, go, you know, like do like a little sort of start stop. And it's like, yeah, that would obviously mess up a wrestler's flow, but like this whole thing is weird, so
Oh,
why not?
they could have done like triple takes and stuff. Like, okay, do this move, and like, or like have three
Like a
cameras and edit, like
like a
very
Bollywood
anime.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like they were still doing like the Kevin Dunn like weird like whippy camera movements, and it's like, but you can control the edits. You can actually just cut to a different camera on the punch, and you don't need to worry about whipping the camera around, you know? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so this is what I was saying, that there's like this match wasn't bad, but this match and matches like it, I think, could have been greatly improved by having a little more care in terms of taking advantage of the weird situation you're in to shoot a slightly more cinematic variation on what they normally shoot, rather than just doing it exactly like you always do but in an empty room. So that's part of my overall sort of like production. It's not a gripe, it's just like I feel like it's a missed opportunity. You know, you're in this totally unique situation. You could experiment a little bit. It's not going to be worse than this, you know?
Yeah, you're never
So,
going to know unless you try, right? Like,
yeah.
they've never been. I mean, now that I've been doing the show with you, and like I notice more about like camera angles and the way they shoot things and the way they present things, and they've never, they never really like test the boundaries. Or they're either too scared or too stuck in their ways, and I think it's
Yeah.
they're too stuck in their ways.
And you could have easily, now, I mean, obviously there's some real boundary testing coming up later, but in these matches,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they didn't. And it's like, you had a week, right? Like you could do that and then put it together and be like,
Watch it.
oh, you know what? That didn't actually work. Go out and have that match normally. Like these are performers, right? You could just be like, we're going to reshoot that match. And they've done that before, right? They've had like when SmackDown wasn't live, you know, you'd have that kind of micromanagement where Vince would be like, go back out and do the ending to that match again because that finish was bad. And then when it aired on TV, they'd edit two things together. And it's like, cool, but so why not do that? So
yeah, because it's Vince, and I think it's just. I mean, some of the stuff that they did on the show is like, some of the stuff they did on the show was mind blowing enough, and I can't believe it made it out to see the light of day. So I think we should just. I don't want us to sound like we're being like, well, they should have done more cool stuff. You know what I mean? Like I said earlier, where it's like it would feel too bloated. You know what I mean? It makes us. I mean, wrestling's whole hook is that it's aiming for very singular, special moments, right? Like wrestling is looking for moments that are either the culmination of a storyline or like a series of matches or like a character's chosen path or whatever. And so for them to really go outside the box on this show is at least something. At least it shows that they're like, somebody has their finger on the pulse. At least a little bit, no matter how much we see like the same old kind of like they have an empty arena and they have this entire playground and then they just kind of just do the safe option, you know?
Yeah. And it's like, I'm not for those who know what's coming, I'm not saying that I wish that every match was like the Boneyard match. I just wish they had taken some time to slightly elevate these otherwise normal matches, and they could have done more with it.
Yes, I think that's what the point.
Yeah.
I agree that that's the point you're trying to make. You're not trying to. I'm just trying to like make sure that people don't think we're just be like, oh well, this sucks, because it's just like they had this whole playground. They had this like whole empty canvas, and then they just gave us Raw. Like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
like,
because
okay,
no one.
cool.
And like if they went for experimentation and it didn't quite land,
Yeah.
no one would have judged them.
No,
right?
Absolutely
no
not.
one would have been like, well, that was stupid. Why didn't you just record it like an episode of Raw?
Yeah. You in the back? Give us back Raw. It's like, no.
You guys have got me so curious as to what's going to happen now.
Oh yeah, just wait.
Let's
move
keep
forward.
on.
Yeah,
because you were all building it up, and I'm like, okay, and you're describing this match, and I'm like, oh, that seems doesn't seem wacky yet.
No,
it's
not yet.
We're building to a moment. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, two different acts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross win.
Yep.
Good for them. We'll see where that goes. Next is there's a little backstage segment with Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Cesaro. What does Sami call them? What's their stable?
The Artist Collective.
The Artist Collective.
Yeah.
Which is
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's something. Sammy's been so fucking good.
Yeah.
As like the leader of this faction and like a whiny, they call them a chicken shit heel. Is like the term in the business, as they like to say, but like just a classic like heel that never wants to fight, will always run away at the first opportunity, and then find a way to win in the end.
And talks so much shit.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's the real mark of a chicken shit heel, right? Is like they are all bluster, and then when they actually have to try and fight, then they're like run away.
Oh God, it hurts. Yeah. So yeah, and he says, I think he's like, he's going to do what few people have done, and that's walk in and walk out of WrestleMania with the Intercontinental title, which is true. Like it's very rare. Like it's almost always like a title change, I think, on the Intercontinental title.
Because it's an easy one. They can be like, yeah, we can change the Intercontinental title, sure. So, but that's not the next match. Next match is King Corbin versus Elias.
Yeah.
King Corbin comes down and is like, well, I guess I win because Elias isn't here. Let's roll the tape of why that is, and we go to the footage of him knocking. So there's this weird, like basically a scissor lift sort of crane that overlooks the ring area. It's where they have Gronk right now.
It's holding him.
Yeah, it's the Gronk holding zone. So on an episode of SmackDown, they had a fight, and then Corbin knocked Elias off of this. And so this is actually an example of what I hope they did more of.
Yeah,
because there's a shot looking up, and you see Elias fall and whiz past the camera. And then it cuts to a reverse shot, and he's just laid out on the concrete floor.
And there's just blood everywhere.
Right?
There wasn't no blood.
No, there wasn't blood. But it's like, obviously, in the shot looking up when he falls off the camera, obviously there's a crash mat or something there.
Yeah.
And then they were like, all right, pause, clear the mat. Elias lay back down on the ground. Okay, go again. And then cut to the reverse shot. And it's like, yes, little things like that. More of that. That's what you can get away with when you're pre-taping.
Yeah. So
yeah, he's like, yeah, he's not here. That's why. So I want the ref to count him out so that it's a where you forfeit. There we go. That's the
hang on. Like you can't start a match without two people. So you can't, like, it's fine if he forfeits, but you can't be like, start the match now, stop the match. Like, wouldn't they just forfeit to begin with?
I guess he just, I don't know. Yeah, you know what, Beej? That's an excellent point.
I never thought about that. Fuck. That was a good point.
Why does he need the ref to count to 10 for Elias to forfeit? If Elias isn't there, he just isn't there.
I think it's because it's more embarrassing.
Oh, okay.
It shows that, like, as a heel, he's like, oh, my opponent, the babyface, couldn't get up after I threw him off the fucking crane. And so, like, he couldn't get up to get out to this match to give me my just desserts, right?
Okay, that's fair, yeah. All right.
I think that's the the thought process.
Okay.
Also adds a little bit of tension. Not that there was any tension, but
What was there like an expectation that he was going to show up?
Well,
yes,
he does.
He does show up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but before the 10 count, he you hear his guitar strum, and then he comes out with his like shoulder taped up, and he's like looking a little worse for wear. But then he comes out and they have a match.
Yeah. The thing that bothered me was like he hit him with the guitar before the match.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, the second he hit him with a guitar, I was like, Elias better be winning this match. Because like if he hits him with a guitar to start the match and then loses, it's like, does that just mean Corbin's like way stronger?
It would, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like,
but luckily
Elias wins. Corbin, the ref catches Corbin using his feet on the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
And then Corbin starts arguing with the referee, and then Elias uses this as a distraction to roll up Corbin for the pin.
And you can hear everything. You can hear the ref be like, "Hey, no ropes, Corbin. Come on."
Yeah.
Like you can hear all of it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And did you know Elias has theme music?
Yeah, dude, it sucks. I brought this up before.
Yeah.
I brought this up before. Elias theme music sucks.
Yeah, but you barely ever hear it.
Yeah.
Because
There's
normally
a reason why you don't ever hear it, because it sucks.
Well, normally it's just like, ladies and gentlemen, Elias, and you hear the single guitar strum, and that's it.
Yeah.
But when he won this match, because he rarely has matches, when he won this match, then there's this music plays. And I was like, is this Elias's theme? This does suck.
I can picture the face you're making too. It's like this.
Oh, yeah.
Like you just ate a lemon.
Like, my God, that's Elias's music?
Yeah. That's good shit.
By God, is that Elias's music? Yeah.
You gonna take that again?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Before SmackDown lost its audience, were people cool with Elias as a face?
Kind of.
All right.
I mean, he's been fine. He's not as popular as that. There was that moment where like he was first doing the Walk with Elias stuff, where he was like red hot, and they didn't do anything with him really. And I think like almost like they missed, in typical WWE fashion, someone is red hot, and then they refuse to like pull the trigger.
Oh, big example of that coming up later.
Yeah.
Some would say the physically largest example of that. But that's not the next match. The next match is the Raw Women's Championship. I'm surprised it is happening so soon on the card. This is Shayna Baszler challenging Becky Lynch.
Yeah. Shayna Baszler showed up on Raw and bit Becky. That was the part of the buildup, was Shayna just showed up and bit her on the neck like a fucking vampire. It was wild, dude. They had like a blood capsule in her mouth and stuff. Like, Shayna pulled away and her mouth was all bloody, and like that's wild, dude. What the?
It was very, very odd.
Yeah. It was like almost like, I know they were trying to make it like personal and make it like very vicious, but it just came off as like super cartoony. I mean, I liked it because it was stupid, right? Like, and the dumber something is, the more I'm gonna love it. Especially with wrestling, I'm like, whew, just give me that good, that fucking just the real dumb shit. Yeah, bite it. Yeah, like, I don't care.
They certainly didn't continue down that path after the response to that bit. Like they referenced it in this video package and everything.
Yeah.
But like that only happened once because everybody was like, "What the fuck?" Like,
and then there's me in the back like, "That was cool. Do it again." Yeah, it was weird. But the build was cool. Like Becky, Shayna just being like, "Oh, I'm a cage fighter." Like, you're not used to fighting people like me. And then Becky's like, "Well, yeah." And then they cut clips of her beating Ronda last year. It's like, yeah, I have beat cage fighters. So
every promo that Becky cut leading up to this was so good.
Yeah.
And in the realm of like how strong did Shayna look, the Shayna's in this match because she won the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
To the winner of the Elimination Chamber would get a shot at it. And a reminder for everyone, and Beej, if you recall what the Elimination Chamber is, it's 6-person match. 2 people start in the ring. There's a giant cage. 2 people start in the ring. 4 people start in pods attached to the ring, and then at timed intervals, one other person will be released, and it's an elimination match. So when you get pinned or submitted, you leave, and whoever's the last person standing wins the match. It's very weird. And Shayna not only won the match, but eliminated every other competitor.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So she was dominant in that match. And it's like, oh, this is going to be. And what did she have the record for NXT women's title again?
Yeah, she had the longest reign.
Yeah.
She beat Asuka's reign.
Yeah. So it's like, this is a big deal, right? Like, this is going to be, if anything unseats Becky, this is going to be the one. I think it was, who was it? I'm trying to remember which like wrestling supermind it was. It might have been like Jim Ross or something. Someone said that at WrestleMania, your biggest star should stand tall.
Yeah.
At the end of that night, or whatever it was. I can't remember exactly. Maybe not at the end, but like, yeah, whatever, essentially basically that like your biggest, whoever you have is like the face of your company should, irrespective of other stuff, that the storyline should be that person is like stands tall at the end of it. And I don't think it's particularly close that Becky is the face of the company right now.
Yeah. I don't think it's remotely close.
And indeed that proves true, as she won this title at WrestleMania last year and retained against Shayna Baszler. Yeah.
Which is wild. Like, I mean, I didn't think it was a bad choice. It surprised the heck out of me. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, I did not expect Shayna to be losing this match. And this was like the first instance of where I really felt like the empty arena benefited a match. Because these women beat the piss out of each other.
They
fucking hammered each other, and it was awesome, dude. Like, it felt like a fight.
This match was shorter than the Elias Corbin match.
Yeah.
And it was brutal.
Yeah. And they were like each going for their submission holds. There was a couple like, God, whenever Shayna knees somebody, it's just like this slap is just like so loud. It's awesome, man. I love Shayna is my favorite female wrestler. Like, going today. Love Shayna. Absolutely, like, love her character. Love the way she wrestles in the ring. I love the way she cuts promos. She's awesome. God, she's so good. She's going to be so good in like 5 years. Like, she'll be Becky in 5 years.
Yeah.
Maybe even less. But
yeah, I definitely agree that it was, I do not believe this was a harm to Shayna Baszler to not win this match.
No. Because it's like, she's still a new wrestler coming into an established kit, like in terms of canon, right?
Becky, on the main roster, yeah.
On the main roster, Becky, the character, is very powerful, right? She's like she's the anime protagonist. And then
in the same way that there are damage modifiers for different parts of the ring.
Yeah.
Everyone, there's sort of this kayfabe thing where the main roster is a level up, like you've entered a new area, there are higher level enemies.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Like, Shayna showed up and like she's new to the MMO. And she like picked a fight with like the gladiator, the number one duelist in the league. And she was like, okay, well, on this realm, I'm going to go after her. And it's like, well, she's number one. She shows up and makes it. And she like kind of like makes quick work of the people underneath number one, but then runs into number one and hits a brick wall, which is fine. I've just gotten so over like people don't always need to win their debuts. And even then, like, leading into this, just like it doesn't hurt Shayna at all, and I don't think it made sense for Becky to win too, because somebody's going to beat Becky one day, so it should be important, right?
It should. I hope it's in front of a crowd when it happens.
Yeah.
Next, the Intercontinental Championship. Daniel Bryan, accompanied to the ring by Drew Gulak, challenging Sami Zayn, accompanied by Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro.
Yep.
Gronk and Mojo up on the Gronk crane doing doing yes chants.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so fucking weird, dude. God, I hate Mojo. Fuck, he pisses me off. Every time I see him, I'm just like, God, get off my TV, please. I'm sure he's a very nice fellow, but just the whole hype thing, like, it's his character.
I want to know what happened to the man in the mirror.
Yeah. What if?
Did you ever see any of these? Was this when after we split what we were watching? Did you ever see any of Mojo's weird promos where he's got shattered glass drawn on his face and he's talking to a mirror?
Yeah, dude, they were great. That was actually where I was like, all right, I'm in. Give me some more of these weird. And then, but what if we found out that the guy in the mirror got out and killed Mojo, and that's who we have now? You know, like, this is why we're like, oh God, he got out.
In 10 years, that's going to be the linchpin of Mojo Rawley's Firefly Funhouse match.
Holy shit. I'd be in. Yeah, okay. All right. You sold me. All right. I'm in.
So obviously I've not been watching SmackDown. Why what's up with Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn?
They just have a beef with each other, basically. It's like it hasn't really been anything out of the ordinary. It's like Sammy just keeps running around and talking about how he's the greatest all the time, or like he's the liberator. That's his thing, right? He's a liberator. He dresses like Castro, kind of. So it's kind of awkward.
Yeah, he's got like green, like olive drab combat pants.
Yeah, and like the hat. So he's like, it's like he calls himself the Great Liberator, and he's freed Shinsuke and Cesaro from the shackles of whatever mediocrity. Yeah. So
what art do Cesaro and Nakamura practice?
That's a good question.
As part of the art collective.
Yeah, Shinsuke is like, they call him the artist, right? Because he's weird. That's the only reason why. Because Vince is like, well, he's weird. He must do art. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, he must like watercolors or some shit. Fuck. God, call him the artist. Yeah. So
I hope it's ukiyo-e.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
It's the traditional Japanese woodblock printing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Shinsuke likes to surf. That's his thing.
Oh, sweet.
Shinsuke is a surfer. He's super cool, dude. But as far as Cesaro, I don't know. What art do Swiss people do? Chocolate? He's a chocolate artist?
Watchmaking?
Watchmaking.
He's a watchmaker, yeah. He's a watchmaker. Yeah. Watchmaker, and then a surfer, and then Sammy. But I mean, cool. Like the main driving point behind this too is like it's been the storyline between Drew Gulak and Daniel Bryan, which started as like Drew Gulak basically picking a fight with Daniel, and Daniel doing this whole new character swap after the Yes Movement came back. But this started with like the Fiend storyline, where Sammy was trying to get Daniel Bryan to join the Artist Collective. And Daniel kept turning. Remember when Daniel was feuding with the Fiend, and then Sammy was like recruiting him, and then he was like, "This could be you, Daniel. You could be winning like us, but instead you're losing to the Fiend." Yeah. So, yeah, they had a match, and it was good. Sammy played like, I mean, like we said earlier, the world's perfect like chicken shit heel. This whole match, like trying to run away, and there was at one point where Daniel was like, yeah, go ahead, leave, fine. And Sammy's like, sweet, oh, okay, yeah, see you later. He's like,
just starts walking up the ramp. He's like, all right, cool. I'm not going to have this match, because if Sammy gets counted out or disqualified, then he retains the titles. He's like, oh, okay, great, cool, thanks, bye.
Yeah. Okay, cool, thanks. So, yeah, it was good. I mean,
well, what happened? That's not how it ends.
No. So that's not how it ends. Nakamura and Cesaro. I'm trying to remember.
Well, Bryan chases after him, and they fight on the ramp.
Yeah, and then Gulak gets involved, and then Nakamura and Cesaro are there. They're all fighting, and then Bryan takes them out. Bryan comes back in, but comes off the top rope, and Sammy just hits the haluva kick, which usually does in the corner, but it's just a big boot. He just kicks him in the fucking head, like hard, and then Sammy gets the pin after the big distraction, like all the schmozzle with everybody in the ring. So, yeah, it was good. I mean, I love this character of Sammy. I hate watching matches where that's all a heel does. You know, where all they do is run away. That's boring to me, which is kind of counter, or I guess that's kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for?
You want them to get their comeuppance, right? Like,
yeah, but
running
I
away,
don't want them.
they're not
I don't want them to run away too much. I still want to watch a match, right?
yeah.
And if they're constantly running away, it just feels like a waste of time. Kind of, it's like we're not pushing anything forward other than stuff we already knew. Like we already know that Sammy doesn't want to fight. We don't need to keep knowing that Sammy doesn't want to fight.
It's like it's stalling.
Yeah,
like an airplane stalls.
yeah, or it's just like I don't know what it's like from an improv, like in improv. If
It's
you just
wimping
keep
is what we call it.
wimping, okay.
Well, it's what it's. I mean, yeah, it's
Like if he
of,
just keeps going back to the same joke over and over again. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not a joke,
yeah.
but it's just like the same. Like let's say there's someone that has like a, when they're doing improv, if they do the same kind of story beats, no matter what suggestions you give them, like you know what I mean? Like they have a structure and they keep using it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
comedians have shtick, right? Like they have their stuff that is the things they rely upon because they're like, I know this always gets a laugh, so I'll just always do this.
Yeah.
And yeah, that sounds like what you're describing.
Kind of, yeah. It's just like I want to know that Sammy is a chicken shit, and I want to see him get out of. I'm interested to see him get out of wrestling in certain ways, but that's not all I want to see. Because I mean, but I guess counterpoint. That's the point. I'm supposed to be upset. I want to see him get caught. So the more he runs away, the more upset I'm going to get. So when he finally does get caught, then I'll get that payoff. I don't know. It's a weird balance.
I'm nodding my head. I just realized I'm on radio, but I'm nodding my head. Like,
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, yep, I have nothing further to add. That sounded great. But I was like, yeah, let's just all respond to Adam with 2 seconds of dead air. Great.
It's like, oh man, I screwed up. Both they hate everything I'm saying. Yeah, so yeah, it was cool, man. It was just like
Sammy wins.
As like, I think it's important to keep that title on Sammy for as long as possible. If I'm going to make one suggestion to the WWE, so if they're ever listening, which I don't.
Well, they've listened to all of our other suggestions.
That's true.
So next match, I'm gonna need you who watches SmackDown to tell me if there's anything that I missed that made this happen.
Nope. There's actually not. Yeah, it's just like they were building it as the tag team triple threat, and then at the last minute, the Miz bailed.
Okay,
and that was pretty much it.
The Miz apparently is injured, as in potentially has COVID. So the SmackDown Tag Team Championships are being defended in a singles triple threat match.
Yeah.
So it's Kofi Kingston, Jimmy Uso, and John Morrison. And whoever wins, their tag team becomes the tag team champions.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like taking it's like a weird not a side bet, but it's like a weird kind of situation where it's like, well, what if only one of us fought, but we all give up the titles? Because that introduces a whole new element of I was always the one carrying the tag team. My partner sucks. Is what it feels like.
It's weird.
Oh.
It's very, very strange. Sorry, you were saying?
But how does that actually go down in practice?
You mean like how does this match go?
Yes, yeah.
I mean, it's just like a normal triple threat, right?
Oh, sorry. This is also a ladder match.
Yes.
In case I didn't make that clear. So the tag titles, the tag belts are hanging from a thing.
Oh, you thought it was just a regular tag match? Yeah, no, that'd be weird. They tag themselves in and stuff like.
Yeah.
It's stuck in an infinite loop of tagging oneself in.
Didn't really get it, so yeah.
I like this even more. Actually, let's rewind. Let's go back in time. Let's tell them to do a normal tag match.
How does that?
I don't know. I don't know how. Either. But I want to see now. Like you figure it out.
So it'd be like Kingston and Jimmy Uso are in the ring, and then when one of them gets beaten down, they'll be like, "Oh no, I'm about to lose. I got to tag in John Morrison."
Yes, but
so then it's Morrison versus Kingston.
Yeah,
and then What the
It
what?
it also brings up the problem that you have had
Yes.
for years with tag team
Yup.
triple threats is why would you ever tag in anyone else?
Yep.
So why
So
would
no,
you
this is
ever?
just a full triple threat singles match.
Yeah.
And there's a rope above the ring, and there's like a bracket thing hanging from the rope, and the 2 tag belts are hanging from the bracket.
There was a great
That's a relevant note for later in the match. Sorry, you were saying.
There was a great promo that the Miz and Morrison had on a SmackDown where they basically cut a promo in the ring and then played the other tag teams in different parts of the arena, but it was just them dressed up. So like they would be like in the ring. This is like more of the the editing that they could have done that makes things interesting. So it's like Miz and
That was
Morrison
really funny. Yeah.
in the middle of the ring and they're talking, and then they're like get interrupted by somebody in the crowd, but it's Miz and Morrison dressed up as the New Day. Thankfully, without blackface.
I was gonna say, God damn it!
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So yeah, thankfully none of that. So Morrison was wearing like a unicorn outfit, very cool. But and then they dressed up as the Usos, and they pretended to be rappers because that's the Usos, and then they also pretended to be heavy machinery, but they just dressed as 2 big pieces of bacon. So they were just 2 big things. They had real bad Southern accents, and it was actually really funny. It was a good promo. I liked it a lot. So, I mean, that was where I was like, oh, that's pretty good. Cool. They're doing something different. They're using like the edited or the pre-recorded to their advantage, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, this match, like, if you're gonna have a triple threat ladder match, having Kofi Kingston, Jimmy Uso, and John Morrison in it,
it's pretty good.
It's pretty good,
dude.
At
one point,
trio of people.
At one point in this match, I'm pretty sure, and I might be misremembering, but Michael Cole says parkour is the use of everything as a weapon. I'm pretty sure he says something along those lines. I was like, that is not okay. Yep. That is Michael Cole. That is not parkour, but all right.
They do talk about in the way that WWE likes to be very reductive about their characters. They do talk a lot about how they're like John Morrison, who knows how to do parkour.
Yeah.
You know, John Morrison, who does parkour training.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do talk a lot about that.
Did you know he does parkour?
What? No way. That's so cool.
Just letting you know he does parkour.
For money?
You know, well, no, for the love of the game.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Forgot to mention earlier on the women's tag champs, of course. Kairi Sane likes boats.
Yep.
In much the same way. Yeah.
A big fan.
But no, this match was
it was good.
Yeah.
It was like
at one point John Morrison tightrope walks from one turnbuckle to another.
Yeah, that's wild. Actually, my favorite part of this
match, and then hits a top rope Spanish fly.
Yeah, that was wild. My favorite part of this match was at one point they had like the big ladder in the middle of the ring, and then Kofi and John Morrison. You know how they usually set up like a table with the ladder, like they'll use, but they did it in a way that made it look natural. And I popped so hard. I was like, oh, they didn't just like make the table and then like, okay, move on with their lives. They did it in a way that they were like fighting with each other and they like slipped, or I think one of the Usos kicked it and it knocked into the ladder to like make a table rather than just making the table. It's like, oh, it just happened naturally. And I was like, that's so fucking brilliant. Thank you. Finally. Like, yeah.
It sounds like very Jackie Chan, right? Like it's like it naturally ends up in a position and it's like then you pop for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
It was great. Yeah, that was my favorite part of the match. Loved it.
So here's an example that goes back to what I was talking about earlier with the with like it's pre-taped, use that. Right? Because there was still, even now in this match that was not live, there was the moment where John Morrison has to pretend to be worn out to climb the ladder extra slowly to give the other folks a time to get back to their feet. And it's like, just cut that. Just cut the dead time. This whole match is moving so quickly, and that part completely ruins suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
Just why?
Yeah.
The finish was really great, though. So
Yeah.
they climb up. All three of them get up ladders. They all get their hands on this bracket that's holding the belts.
Mm-hmm.
And all three of them are on it. And then they unhook it from the thing, but they're all holding onto it.
Yeah.
So they're all like, each of them is on their own ladder, like yanking back and forth on the bracket, trying to be like, who's got one of us wins or whatever. And then Kofi and Jimmy Uso do a synchronized headbutt to John Morrison, sending him flying backwards, and he's holding onto the belts, and he flies backwards, grabbing the belts, ripping them off the bracket, and he goes crashing to the floor through a ladder again, I think.
Yeah, is that same ladder they set up for the table, like the
Yeah.
yeah.
And then he hits the floor, and so he's like out with the belts, and Kofi and Jimmy are at the top of the ladder, each with a hand on the bracket, sort of like, what? And then the refs are like, he's got the belts.
Oh, Jesus.
Ring it.
It's funny because Graham isn't saying that like that's what they're thinking. The refs actually say out loud, he's got the belts. Ring the bell.
Yeah.
It was really funny. Yeah, he's got the belts.
So it's like, the match is get the belts from the thing, so I guess he wins.
When he wakes up, we'll let him know he's champion.
Yeah, exactly.
That was good. I foresaw this. I thought they'd be retaining anyway. There's not really, fuck man. It's just like so easy. I don't want to just sit here and compare it to AEW, but man, AEW's tag team division is like so much more story heavy than what we get in the WWE. And I wish they gave it more. Once again, this is a cry for help for WWE to please God put some effort into your tag team division, which I guess is why the Revival are leaving. So,
are they actually for sure leaving now?
Oh yeah, they haven't re-signed contracts. They haven't been on TV for weeks.
All right,
they're like done. They're waiting. I think they're just waiting out their contracts. So it's just a matter of time.
There's so many good tag teams in AEW already.
And
so I don't want to just be like AEW when, but the Revival, they're watching them in NXT were the ones that showed me. I was like, oh, this is what tag team wrestling's supposed to be like.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. So that sucks.
They're incredible, dude. And they're gonna be awesome if they get to AEW and they get to let them do what they do, right? That tag team division needs a solid pair of heels too, right? They don't really have it.
I guess the Dark Order isn't really a tag team. They're more of just an overall stable.
But there's no there's no. Anyway, I don't want to get too deep on it, but yeah, it's just fine. Like it was a cool match. Like the match was great. I loved it. All three are very talented. John Morrison is agile as hell. Like unbelievable how like athletic he is. So I don't know. We'll see going forward. I don't have high hopes for the tag team division.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Our next match is Seth Rollins, the Monday Night Messiah.
Yeah. Do you like it or hate it?
With the Monday Night Messiah?
Yeah.
Seth is so believable as a real asshole who is full of himself. I cannot help but be on board.
Yeah, he's very good. He's so much better as a heel than he is as a babyface.
Yeah. So yeah, this is basically, this has gone back a long, long time when feuding with Seth Rollins, feuding with Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe, who's again injured, which just sucks for Samoa Joe. But they this was going back to when the Authors of Pain returned to Raw and attacked Owens, and then he tracked it down as that they were working for.
This has been going since Survivor Series, right? The night after Survivor Series.
This has been a feud continuing for some time, and basically, Seth Rollins is like, I'm the Monday Night Messiah. I'm the locker room leader. I control. I'm in charge of Monday Night Raw. I'm what people tune in to see. Yeah. And Kevin Owens is like, you're an asshole.
porque no estos, like,
Yeah, exactly. Like that's basically Seth, so yeah, like Seth Rollins has like all white attire with like a robe almost that he comes out with this time.
It's awesome.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean Kevin Owens' motivation in this feud is basically just that Rollins is being a big wiener.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's just
Yeah,
like he wants to
they've
shut
just
him up.
they've just been making life hell for one another for months.
Yeah. This one was a weird one, right? Like, and not weird in the way that we're going to talk about weird later, but just like they have this completely normal match, which is very good. And then at one point, Seth hits Owens with a bell, the timekeeper's bell, and the referee has to call the match for a DQ.
Yeah.
And then Rollins is like laughing, and then Owens' music hits, and then Rollins is limping away. And they kind of cut to the shot of Owens laying on the ground laughing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Owens gets into the ring and says, "Hey," gets a microphone. And he calls Rollins a little bitch and calls him back in the ring to finish it once and for all. He wants no DQ, no rules.
Yeah, he's like, "Get back here. Let's do this. Come on, you coward."
And Rollins is like, "Sure. Okay." Yeah, he agrees to it, which is weird because like Rollins has spent like, I guess this is what Rollins would agree to, because you'd think that the Authors of Pain and Buddy Murphy, would be nearby. But because of social distancing, we all know that they're not there anyway.
Well, I mean, there's matches. I mean, the Daniel Bryan match,
That's true.
There was 5 people involved, right?
Damn, I was trying to make a good joke, but then, you just pointed.
I'm sorry.
It's like, damn it. Not only did I not get a laugh, Graham corrected me immediately.
Oh, I really goofed you there. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Hey, it's okay. Just edit all that shit out.
No, I'm leaving that one in. That's great. Whew, that's good.
I feel bad now.
No, don't.
But he is like, he's already like clocked Owens with the bell.
Yeah.
So he's just sort of like, he has this kind of like, when will you learn kind of thing. He's like, oh, you want to know DQ match? Okay, Owens, guess I got to come back and teach you a lesson. And then he starts calling him a fat piece of crap.
Yeah. Dude, this is like one of those matches where, again, the empty arena benefited from it because these two are so good at talking trash to each other.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You can tell that I mean, you not can tell, but I get the feeling that they legitimately like each other. So it's like when they're trash talking each other, it's not mean spirited, right? They're just working. They're using it as like a vehicle kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, I loved it. I could get used to this empty arena thing. I kind of
get used to it too. I want them to step it up.
Not that I want to get used to it again, but I'm just saying that it adds something to it that we're not used to. And I don't think, maybe it won't hold up. Maybe it has no legs, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's interesting. And so they start having a no DQ match. They fight outside like immediately, basically. The WWE style of no DQs or street fights or whatever. Rollins hits Owens in the head with the steps, like clean head too. Like, that was a bit much. And then Rollins grabs a steel chair and they're fighting. And then they end up towards the, basically the announce table is like right near the, like, I guess the Titantron. Or
so they have
sign?
So like the WrestleMania sign that's been hanging up in the arenas ever since the Royal Rumble, right, like way up in the balconies. So the set dressing for the Performance Center is they just have that sign at ground level directly behind the announce table, so it's enormous. So it's this huge illuminated sign, says WrestleMania on like the flag, and they've got like the pirate cutlass and everything, and it's just directly behind the announce table. And so then Owens lays Rollins out on the announce table, and goes around back of the set, and then appears at the top of it, on the sign, And earlier, when Rollins was beating Owens down, he was like beating him down and talking smack about like, like, oh, you're trying to get your WrestleMania moment, huh, Owens? You're trying to beat the Monday Night Messiah, get a WrestleMania moment, huh? And so then Owens on top of the thing is like, he's on the sign and goes like, "How about this for WrestleMania moment?" and then dives off the sign.
Yeah, it's wild. It's a huge jump too, dude.
Yeah.
So they go crashing through the announce table, and then Owens gets Rollins back in the ring, hits a stunner, covers to win. So there we go. Owens wins. So hopefully they can move on from this feud for our sake and probably Graham's sake because he has to keep watching Raw.
Oh, this was not the bad part of watching Raw.
No? Okay.
Did I ever tell you, at the risk of diverging completely?
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you that we found out what was in Eric Rowan's cage?
No, fuck, you didn't.
Yeah.
What's in it?
Well, what did I say it was going to be?
Something, a disappointment. Yes.
Yes.
And
so, well, I called it.
Oh boy. I didn't even actually forgot about this.
A large, like the size of a small pizza, a large, barely animatronic, clearly fake, hairy tarantula.
Holy fuck. Are you shitting me?
No.
Oh my
God. I don't remember who it was. Was it No Way Jose is like partying his way through backstage and he's like, seriously, what's in this thing? And Rowan's like, do you want me to show you? And he pulls it out and he's like, blah! And all the partiers in No Way Jose go like, ah, and run away. And then he's just got this like spider.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what?
Yeah, does it transform or anything?
Yeah. And then everyone tweeted it at me, and they were like, "You were right. It was a total disappointment." And I don't remember what happened to it since then, if anything. But,
fucking Drew McIntyre killed it with a pair of steps.
What?
Yeah, Drew McIntyre was having a match with Eric Rowan, and then he started beating up Eric Rowan, and then in the middle of the match, they didn't even fucking dignify it for after the match. Drew McIntyre takes the cage, puts it in the middle of the fucking, like, the rampway, and then just picks up the steel steps and drops it on top of the cage. That's it, dude. I fucking forgot about that. Oh boy, how do you kill a disappointment? With steps.
They should have done that. First of all, kind of a weird move for the face. Drew McIntyre being a good guy.
Yeah.
Kind of like, sure, Rowan's meant to be a bad guy, but still kind of a weird move.
Mm-hmm.
That's all Rowan had going on.
Yeah.
Was the cage.
So now he's got nothing going on.
Now he's got nothing. And they could have done that without ruining it by showing you this like terribly, deeply unconvincing spider. I can't wait till you have to look up footage of this thing to put in the episode.
Oh yeah,
because
I'm so excited.
It's like, oh god, it's so bad.
You can just, it sucks. You can say it sucks, Graham.
It sucks so bad.
Oh man, I'm excited to look this up. But yeah, that's that storyline done and gone. It's just like a typical WWE thing where they have a storyline and they're going with it, and then all of a sudden Vince doesn't like it, and then he's like, well, just fucking kill it. You know what I mean? Like, It's a very like, just crush it. We'll just get Drew to smash it with a pair of steps.
It's the size of a small dog.
Yeah, it's big.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's like a Palooka from that episode of Deep Space Nine.
God, those things.
No one's gonna remember that, Graham. What the hell are you referencing?
Those things are worth like 8,000 bells. What the fuck?
Very topical.
Do your best.
Yeah.
I was also gonna say, like, did McIntyre not do anything like say, "I've got a 3-step solution to this problem"? Like, he didn't have like a fucking like. He didn't have anything to say. He just did it.
Yeah, he didn't say shit. He just literally looked over at the cage, saw it, and was like, I don't like that. And then he like picked it up and he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill this thing. So,
for whatever it's worth,
3-step. Can we go back to fucking 3-step solution? That is fucking amazing.
It's really good.
That might be the funniest thing you've ever said, Beej.
Oh, thank you.
They have not been scripting McIntyre's promos as heavily of late on Raw, and he's really good.
Yeah,
he's so calm and confident in the ring and on the mic, and he's very, very entertaining. And it's been I'm so glad he won the Rumble. Like he's been really good. He's been the kind of face that Monday Night Raw needs.
Yeah.
R-Truth runs up to Gronk and this is the only other thing Gronk does tonight, by the way.
Yeah.
R-Truth runs up and he's like, this was very funny.
I think it's because it's R-Truth, though.
Yeah, R-Truth is very good at being funny, and he has, he'll always get things wrong and be unaware of things that are happening. And so he's like, man, I tell you, this 24/7 championship, like, it's a curse. Like, I can't go. He's like, I can't go to cookouts. I can't go to church. I can't go to, he's listing off all the places that he can't go because he has the title. Obviously completely unaware that none of these things are happening right now because of the current circumstances. So it's like, it's very R-Truth to be doing the right thing for the wrong reasons. And it's very good. So he's like, can I just hide out here with you guys for a few minutes? And then Gronk's like, oh, and Gronk tries to roll him up, and then Raleigh throws Gronk off and pins him, and Raleigh wins the title and is like, yeah, I got it, boy, and runs away. And then Gronk's like, oh, and that's it.
Dude, first of all, Gronk can't act, so let's not have a single camera shot on Gronk's sad face because he didn't win the 24/7 title. It's not doing him any favors. Second of all, this is a chink in the armor of the friendship, dude.
Already,
so soon. They're
barely got signed.
Yeah, can we slow the burn on this a little bit? The storyline that I'm heavily invested in.
This at least has to carry us to SummerSlam, surely.
Oh God, please, Graham, please be careful what you say out loud. You just put that evil in the world. Actually, I would love to see a Gronk, just for the sake of it being so fucking stupid. I would love if SummerSlam's main event was Gronk versus Mojo.
That would be such a bad match.
Yeah, it would be. It would be, Graham, but it would also be bad. I couldn't think of anything positive to say. Yeah.
No. So our next match, this is kind of funny. Kathleen was like, how many more matches? Because it's only 2 nights. How many more? Or not only? She's like, it's 2 nights. How much longer is this one? And I was like, well, there's 2 matches left. She's like, there's still 2 matches, and I said, yes, but one of them will be very short.
And it's this one.
Yeah, next is the Universal Championship match. Braun Strowman challenging Goldberg. Wait, hang on.
Yeah.
So originally, this was Goldberg defending against Roman Reigns.
Yes. Originally, the reason that match happened was because Goldberg beat the Fiend, and then Roman Reigns showed up in the ring and said, hey, you should fight me. And Goldberg's like, okay. And that was pretty much it. That was the storyline. And that was a better storyline than what we got going into this match, because holy shit, I was drinking.
Because Roman Reigns recovered from leukemia. We talked about that. That was kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, so that means I'm super immunocompromised and would rather not be a part of this. I would rather isolate and not, directly interact with sweaty men. Mm-hmm. So I'm out. I'm out of Mania. And there was rumors that he was out, and then he put out an Instagram video that was like, yeah, I'm not participating in Mania, sorry. And everyone, but WWE hadn't acknowledged it yet. And then I think Triple H was like, don't worry, there's a plan, there's a story that we're going to tell to go into WrestleMania, don't worry. And they still didn't say anything, and then on the go home SmackDown, so the day before, Michael Cole is running down the card for night 1 of WrestleMania, and he's like, Becky Lynch will be defending her title against Shayna Baszler. Yeah. King Corbin will battle against Elias. Goldberg will be defending the Universal Championship now against Braun Strowman and the Undertaker. It's like that's it. It was just part of the running down the card was like also it's Strowman now. No explanation, nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's it.
Infuriating.
Oh yeah, but it
That they couldn't even try to do anything.
Yeah, well, I think the part of the problem was Goldberg probably wasn't around because they'd already probably filmed this for WrestleMania when SmackDown went up, right? Do you think they filmed WrestleMania earlier in the week?
That doesn't mean you can't do anything.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying as far as like getting Bill Goldberg available because he's probably contracted for I think this was his last contracted appearance.
Yeah.
So it's just like his contract's up. They probably don't want to negotiate and probably don't want to pay him more money for more appearances and et cetera, et cetera. Like, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here. Like,
yeah,
sure, there was a reasoning, but I get it. Like, yeah, it sucked. It was just like, it's just an unfortunate victim of the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, the best part of this match though was JBL with the line that said, "It's a good thing both these guys don't work by the hour." which was alluding to them, their ability to finish matches quickly, but it didn't sound like that when he said it, so it was really funny. Like,
yeah, this is, I mean, much like a Brock Lesnar match, a Goldberg match is like you're playing a wrestling video game and both players just mash heavy attack.
Yes. It's like when you play Mortal Kombat and you only sweep.
Oh no,
only sweeping, dude.
Like they start talking trash. The Goldberg walk into the ring as he comes out of the conference room because like he doesn't that they put Goldberg on the door of.
Yeah.
Yeah, he comes to the ring, so it's like Goldberg hits Strowman with 3 spears,
mm-hmm.
and Strowman kicks out.
Yep.
Then Goldberg hits him with a 4th spear, and then goes for a jackhammer, and Strowman counters it into a power slam, and then hits him with another power slam, and hits him with a running power slam.
Yeah.
And then pins him.
It was 4 power slams.
Yeah, 4 power slams. Sorry, this match was 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, because when you said there was like 3 spears in a row, I'm just kind of like, okay, so he did a spear, and then he got up, and he did another one when the other guy got up, and I'm like, that seems like it's happening awfully fast.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
This match was 2 minutes 10 seconds, bell to bell.
Man, when he speared Braun right away, I was like, wow, Braun's losing. Like, I was like, that's incredible. And then he kept kicking out. I was like, oh, okay, cool. See you later, Goldberg. See you never. Fucking beat it. Kick rocks, pal. Cram walnuts. You can pound sand, you idiot. Fucking never come back. There, I said it. I got it off my chest. Good.
I agree with Adam.
Yeah, fucking good lord, dude. I'm still upset that he beat the Fiend. I'm fucking upset, dude. Not much in wrestling makes me upset. I'm upset at that.
I'm upset that they didn't have the fucking, pardon me, the wherewithal and the understanding and the forethought to put the belt on Strowman when they should have.
Yeah,
like. This is like,
when a year and a half ago or a year ago.
Yeah, this is Sandra Bullock winning the Oscar for Green Book. Green Book is not. This is everyone going like, "Oh, you've come so close so many times, and everyone likes you. Everyone likes you. You know what? We're going to give you an Oscar for this." It's like Strowman didn't deserve. There was no storyline. This is unearned.
That might be one of the funniest things I've ever heard you say. Holy shit, that's good.
It's just like he got the title here because it was like they needed to put it on someone because obviously Goldberg was out of workable dates, right?
Yeah,
and it's like a year and a half, 2 years ago, Strowman absolutely, when he was in that match with Lesnar, it's like Strowman absolutely could have won the belt there, and it would have made sense. And this is like, oh, Strowman. Okay, cool. All right. I guess.
Beej, were you doing Sidewalk Slam when we covered the Strowman Lesnar match?
I don't. I might have been, but I also didn't. I couldn't picture those 2 men in my head. So
Strowman kneed Lesnar really hard by either accident or he was too jazzed up, and then Lesnar just straight up fucking punched him. Like it was like a real Brock Lesnar punch. Yeah.
Like in the temple.
Yeah, it was fucking wild. They replayed it 30 times.
Yeah, and you could see him, or you could hear him be like, it was like, pop, slow down.
Yeah. Yeah, when Brock Lesnar punches you in the fucking head and tells you to slow down, what do? You slow down.
Yeah, I guess so.
You find a way to turn time backwards.
I groggily regained consciousness 3 hours later.
I make very short trips to the mailbox from that point on.
Yeah,
exactly. Braun Strowman winning the title is like Sandra Bullock winning an Oscar for Green Book. Fuck, that's good. That's gonna.
He wasn't going to win it for miscongeniality. I mean,
No.
like, come on, like
that statement's gonna haunt me for the rest of my life. Fuck, that's good. Holy shit. Whew, oh boy.
Now, your main event. What is this going to look like?
Oh man, this is fuck, man. I didn't think they were gonna do it like this. You know,
this is what I hoped they were going to.
I mean, we all hoped it, but I didn't think they'd actually do it.
Yeah, this is AJ Styles versus The Undertaker in a boneyard match. What is a boneyard match?
Nobody knows.
Apparently, they didn't want to say graveyard or cemetery because don't want to think about death, but it's definitely a cemetery because there's headstones everywhere, and it's called a boneyard. So whatever. And it's like,
man, every time I hear cemetery, I'm going off tangent again. Sorry. I used to work with this dude, very Polish, and he said cemetery. So every time I hear cemetery, I just think cemetery, man.
Where they make cement. Yeah.
Anyway, carry on. Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the build up to this.
Yeah, it was basically that AJ just decided to challenge the Undertaker because he's like, I want to fight Undertaker. I'm AJ Styles. I'm the best. You know, I got Gallows and Anderson here with me. We're the club. We're the OC. I'm greatest. I should challenge Undertaker. And he starts cutting promos on the Undertaker. You know, he's like, you know, you're not so spooky. You're old and busted. You know, like your wife Michelle McCool keeps trotting you out here every year. And which is amazing because Undertaker cut this promo in the Go Home Raw where he's like, your big mistake. He's like, look, man, you want to challenge me? Fine. I'll make you famous. I get it. You know, but your mistake was when you brought her into this, my wife. You got mad at Michelle McCool because she did the Faith Breaker, or as you call it, the Styles Clash, better than you ever could. Mm-hmm. She got that move over. And so here's the thing. Let's rewind many, many, many years to when Michelle McCool was an actual wrestler. She was a competitor. She's a former women's champion, former Divas champion. And her finishing move, she got this new finishing move partway through her run, and they called it the Faith Breaker. And it's literally the Styles Clash. So she holds them upside down, steps forward to lock their arms in, and then jumps forward, slamming them to the mat underneath her. And when she started doing that, the internet wrestling community was very upset because AJ Styles was very active in TNA Impact Wrestling at this time. He was one of, if not their biggest star, and had been using the Styles Clash for some time. And everyone was like, she's just ripping off the Styles Clash. What the hell? People did not like that.
People getting upset on the internet?
And well, so it's so wild to hear the Undertaker say, you're mad because my wife used your finishing move better and she got that move over. Hearing the Undertaker say she got that move over, which is like an insider term.
Yeah.
It's just, and this is not the dead man Undertaker. If anything, this is the American badass Undertaker. This is, he's got a bandana and shades and he's got a motorbike, you know, and it's like, this, what is happening? This is very, very weird. But he did finish this promo by saying that I'll still make you rest in peace. And then the camera pans over to a headstone saying AJ Styles, 1977 to 2020.
Yeah. And like, because like Undertaker is like notoriously the king of kayfabe, right? Like always protect the business is kind of like Undertaker's thing, you know? So now that he's done, like, it's weird seeing him do like the Steve Austin podcast where he's just talking like a normal human being. And then see him do this promo with AJ was kind of weird, but.
And I mean, this match and the Funhouse match as well, it was doing a lot of playing into stuff that longtime wrestling fans have talked about. You know, like AJ Styles is like, I don't want to fight the Undertaker that's posting branded selfies on Instagram, right? Which Taker has, and everyone's like, that's weird, right?
Yeah.
It just feels weird that Undertaker is like, check out my protein drink. Like it's very, very strange. And so AJ Styles is like, I don't want that Undertaker. I want the Phenom, come and fight me. And so the buildup was weird, but not as weird as the actual match.
Yeah.
So the shot opens up. There's like these establishing shots of a graveyard with weird theatrical lighting, and there's smoke.
Yeah.
And then a hearse pulls up with Undertaker's music playing. A pair of druids get out of the hearse. They pull a coffin out of the back, and the coffin pops up, and it's AJ.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, was that scary?
This is like, and he's like, ooh, what a ride. And like, this is in the headcanon that AJ spent the whole trip to the cemetery in the back in a coffin.
Was his intention like to pop the bubble of this isn't as scary as you're making it out to be? Because they both arrive at the same time, but he's in the coffin already. Like,
they don't arrive at the same time, though.
No, because he gets out and then he's like, all right, Undertaker, I'm here. Because obviously Undertaker picked the spot, I guess. He's like, I'm here. Where are you? And calls him. And then Now That We're Dead by Metallica starts playing. And the Undertaker rocks up on a motorcycle dressed fully. He's fully dressed like his American Badass era of the Undertaker. The only thing that could have made this better is if they had relicensed Rollin' by Limp Bizkit.
That would have been so sick.
Which was his entrance music at that time. Styles asks him if Michelle knows he's staying out this late. And Styles shows him, he's like, look, I dug a plot for you. He gestures to like a piece of earth moving equipment and a massive grave. He's like, look what I dug for you.
Yeah.
And so this is me, I'm going to talk about the end of the match here, but he gestures to it, and the headstone by the grave has ivy over it, obscuring the name. And so AJ's like, look, I dug this for you. And it's like, as soon as I see that the name is obscured, I'm like, okay, that says AJ, and Taker's winning this match. Obviously.
Yeah.
It's so obvious. You should have just turned it around.
Well, Taker specifically says, like, oh, it's for me, huh? You just dug your own grave.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, oh, okay.
So then they start to fight, and it's like it's a fist fight. AJ starts.
Awesome. Dude,
I like this. AJ runs away, and he's like, AJ, hey. he calls him Alan.
So this isn't happening in the building, then?
No, it's outside.
This
Like
is
in
in the
a parking
boneyard.
lot?
Beej.
Yeah.
No,
No.
it's a boneyard match.
It's a boneyard. They're in a boneyard, you idiot.
So this is pre-taped.
Yes.
Oh yeah. This is not even meant to look
like,
live.
Even when the fight first starts, AJ goes for the tried and true wrestling move of the fucking rock to the face.
He picks up a brick and tries to beat Undertaker in the head.
Oh, rad. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, I'm in now.
And then Undertaker beats AJ around this boneyard. He beats him around the boneyard. And then Taker picks up like this lead pipe. And then he's going to go hit AJ with it, and AJ moves. And
He hides in the hearse.
Yeah. And AJ moves, and Taker puts his fist through the window of the hearse with like this metal bar that he had in his hand. And he pulled his arm out, and he had a big cut on his arm. He's like, look what you made me did. And it's like, you made me bleed my own blood. It's like, you're in trouble.
He was really chill. He looks at his arm. He's like, son of a. It was a real cut too.
Oh yeah,
it was
real.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, he was so
hey,
calm.
AJ, you look what you did. You made me bleed. Like, he was really honestly.
Yeah.
I've never heard Undertaker talk this much.
Yeah.
And it was terrific.
Mm-hmm.
The banter and the smack talk back and forth between these two through this whole thing was a highlight.
Yeah. And then AJ crawls on top of the car. And Taker hits him a couple times. I think AJ gets thrown onto the windshield.
Mm-hmm.
And then he bounces off it. There's this great, it's quiet. Thank God they didn't put music underneath this or something, because you'd think they would. And then Taker throws AJ into an empty grave. And we're like, oh, that was quick. But then fucking
Uh-huh.
so fucking Taker has AJ in the grave, okay? He's in an open grave. It's like fucking
Yep.
it's like 2 feet deep. And
It's pretty deep, actually.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
pretty
five,
deep.
It's like 5 feet. It's pretty deep.
my complaint comes later about how deep it is compared to what. Okay, but anyway, so then fucking Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson show up, and they're like, "Hey, Taker, we're just getting started." And Taker suddenly, and then the fucking behind Gallows and Anderson, like some lights, floodlights come on, and then the panels start falling away with this like old rickety shack, and all these druids come out, these fucking dudes in robes. And Taker's like, "Oh hell, here we go again." You know that meme, the fucking "Oh, here we go again." Yeah, that's fucking Taker.
So
He's like, "Huh?"
they surround him, and he's looking around, and they're not doing anything, and he's like, "If we're gonna do this, let's do this."
Yeah.
Like he's, and then he wipes out the druids because they're
They're
just
putties.
they're putties. Yeah.
And then he beats up Gallows and Anderson.
Mhm.
And then fucking AJ comes in off stage right. AJ shows up. And fucking stage right, AJ just blasts Undertaker with like a fucking headstone or like a
Yep.
tombstone or something. It's like AJ comes out of nowhere at like full speed. He's going like Mach 5 and fucking bang, hits the Undertaker. And it's like this huge sound. Undertaker sounds like he's been shot. And so fucking they start beating up the Undertaker. And then AJ works Taker over and yells at, or says, AJ's like, "You made me break my finger." Like that's what he was upset about. And he's like, "You need to retire." And AJ gets the upper hand. I'm trying to remember what else happened. What happens after this? Is this when they go on the roof?
Yeah, they start climbing up the roof of this barn. So this is like the barn building that it's like a 2-story sort of generic corrugated metal barn building with a 1-story like porched area.
Yeah.
So they climb onto the roof of that. Gallows and Anderson are up there as well.
Oh, there's a great moment. Is this the moment where no, this is before they climb on the roof. AJ gets the fucking shovel. AJ's like, "I'm gonna bury you." It's like, fitting. And he like breaks the shovel over Taker's back, and then Taker ends up in the grave.
Oh,
and then
no, Taker doesn't get in the grave until later.
No, this is before they go on the roof though, because this is when AJ gets into the tractor, remember? And then Taker fucking pops up behind him.
Oh, that is before the roof.
So that's before the roof. Yeah, that's before the roof. So like AJ hits Taker with the shovel, right? Taker falls into the empty grave. So then AJ is like, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Fucking, here we go. So AJ gets there's a like a tractor, like a fucking, I don't know what the word, like a bulldozer, not a bulldozer, but
it's a backhoe.
A backhoe, and it's like full of dirt. And so AJ's like sits down on the fucking tractor and he like starts it up or whatever. And then all of a sudden there's like a floodlight behind him from like the tractor. And then Taker like pops up behind him all of a sudden from
like he was in the grave.
Yeah.
And then a massive backlight turns on behind AJ and suddenly Taker is directly behind AJ.
AJ does this great face, dude. Fuck, there's a great shot of AJ realizing that Taker's behind him. And he's like, "Oh no, he's behind me, isn't he?" And he like turns around and there's Taker and he hits him. And then he beats him off the tractor, and that's when they head up towards the roof.
Yeah. So they get on the roof, and Taker dispatches Gallows by chucking him fully off the roof. Yeah. In a manner very reminiscent to throwing Mick Foley off the Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
He gives a tombstone pile driver to Anderson on the corrugated roof.
Is this before or after Taker summons flames?
That's at the very, very end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not the very end, but he like AJ's on the roof and Taker like raises his arms in the air because AJ's trying to run away, and he makes like a flame wall appear because Taker's like an undead wizard, right? Like that's
he says there's nowhere to run.
Yeah, and he's like, and he lifts up his hands like, and then like magic appears, and AJ's like, "Oh shit." A firewall.
And then he choke slams AJ off the roof and through a bunch of wood pallets.
Yeah.
And then he like slowly gets down from the roof, and then he's just still talking to AJ. It's great. He's like, "Hey, do you remember my wife's name? What is it?
Yeah. How old am
I? Why don't you go ahead and tell me how old I am? Go on." And he's like, It's great. It's just so good. He's like, yeah. How'd that work out for you? And then he was it Undertaker? I'm just got my notes here. It says
This is the
Styles
best moment
would
of
have
this.
lasted longer if he was tougher.
Yeah, dude, the best moment too is like AJ starts begging. He's like, "Please don't bury me," and it sounds so genuine. Like he's like, "Please, I don't want to die." Like basically, like he's like, "I don't want. Please don't bury." And then Taker's like, "Oh shit, I'm not gonna bury you. Come on, man." Like he's like, "Come on, I'm not gonna kill you, you fucking idiot." He's like, "I'm not. You did good. You made me bleed. You fought. Like you fought hard. You fought hard."
Yeah,
And
he said a lot of people haven't given me that kind of fight.
yeah, and then AJ or Undertaker turns around and then kicks AJ into the grave. And then gets onto the tractor and fucking dumps dirt, which like it wasn't enough dirt to fill that big of a hole, but hey, that's my only criticism, really. It's like they dump a little bit of dirt and all of a sudden the grave's full. And then we just watched a man die, by the way. I'm just letting everybody know.
So
Yeah.
this is like buried alive.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And then
We
Taker
see his
yeah, you see AJ's hand like just sticking out from the grave, but it's like a fake mannequin hand with AJ's glove on it.
Ah,
and then he reveals the gravestone. It does say AJ Styles 77 to 2020.
Yeah, sure does. And then AJ or Undertaker gets on his bike, and then there's like a shot of like the house behind him, and then the house lights on fire, and then there's like a hologram, kind of like a light.
It's a giant laser light
Yeah.
of the Undertaker, like sort of like crossed stake symbol.
Yeah, and then that shows up, and then Metallica's whatever. What was the name of the song again? Better Off Dead.
now that we're dead.
Now that we're dead.
Now that we're dead starts playing, and Taker drives off.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was unique and amazing, and this is the kind of thing. I hope Undertaker never has a normal match again. Like
You know what I hope? I hope they never do this again.
Oh,
I hope
but
this is it. I know
do
that we
want
want to see it more,
like,
but I think
this is how you can keep Undertaker having matches.
I know, but it's just like Graham. That's just them seeing money signs. I'm just thinking about like I would love for them just to leave it at this. You know, I know that they can make money and I know they could do more with it, but me, Adam Savadan, is just a boy asking you to never do this ever again because it was that good.
This was so good.
Yeah.
So I made a complaint on Twitter that I think people made people think that I didn't like this match, because I did like this match. This match was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
This is another one of those like, but it could have been better, because this wasn't a wrestling match, right? Like this was presented like they were presenting it like cinema, but they shot it like a wrestling match with their normal cameras and their normal lenses. And it's like they have a movie studio. They have people that can do this, you know? And it's like, if they'd shot this just a little differently, not even shooting it differently, just using different cameras and different lenses, this would have looked astonishing.
Mm-hmm.
But it still looked like daytime TV because it was using the same high frame rate, infinite depth of field, like just normal contrast level that they always do for any of their matches, that looks totally fine in an arena and looks weird when you're trying to do something cinematic. This is like me getting up my own ass about the language of cinema and what people, I'm not saying you shoot it 24 frames per second, but like this, if this had like just some better lenses and some different like color work, because like the set was amazing, the location was great, your actors are stunt performers who can act, and their banter was great, and everything they did was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that I would have wanted to make better was to shoot it better, and it would have been transcendently good as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I still thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
I just when the way you're describing it too, like I was like, well, if this is all filmed separately and was definitely filmed before, like before the whatever was going on that night,
Right.
It just kind of struck me that I'm kind of like, well, why would you show a headstone covered in ivy meant to obscure that it's AJ Styles' name there? Why wouldn't you show a headstone that literally has Undertaker written on it?
Yeah.
And then when the time comes, whether, I don't know, if Taker summons lightning and it strikes the headstone and changes the headstone, or if he picks it up and writes with his own, like with his finger, carving the shit into the stone with his finger, like if you have time to do some of that, what they were doing, it's like, do a little bit of special effects, make it like a really like spooky whatever, like
Exactly.
step that up too. Like
You're
isn't
already
what to expect.
like you're already doing bits where it's like it's obvious you have to start and stop for like when the pyro comes up, when he's like, you can't go that way, AJ, and then the pyro wall stops, or to have Undertaker teleport behind AJ Styles. Like you're already doing that sort of stuff. So like why not fully commit, Yeah. And so that's my critique of it from a production standpoint, which I just wanted to better get out there rather than my sort of like off the cuff tweet that I just want them to use cinematic cameras and lenses if they're going to do cinematic stuff, which I think they should. This match was amazing and I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was just them this whole night. Well, good and better, way better than I expected. Again, it's like the way they chose to display the matches and do their production is just them not being willing to fully commit. Like we talked about earlier, right? It's just like they're too scared or they're just too stuck on their ways of giving us the same old rather than just like fully going all in on everything about pre-taped content, I mean, the flexibility you have and the room for creativity that you have to do different things, and you can make mistakes and like fix them later, or like things can be perfect,
Yeah. And especially since like you're never going to find an opportunity where people are going to be more forgiving.
Yeah.
Like with the current circumstances, it's going to be like if things are weird but different, people are going to be like, all right, sure, why not? It's like they're not going to complain because, I mean, yeah, okay, they're going to complain about everything.
Yeah.
Obviously, people complain about everything all the time, but you can get away with that. There's a lot of forgiveness built in right now because everyone's just trying their best.
Yeah, everyone's just trying their best.
Yeah. And so that was night one. That was the main event. Boy, man, that was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I want more stuff like that, but at the same time, I want it to stay special. But I don't know if that's just me being selfish. You know what I mean? As far as the Boneyard match, like obviously, I know that just because they're going to do it again doesn't mean it's going to be any better or worse than what they've done now, right? And they've probably learned a lot, but
and I gotta say, like that is as creative and weird and interesting as I thought they were going to get. And so I was not ready for night two.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. We'll get there, Beej. We'll get there. Sit tight. We'll get there.
Yeah. Right. Night two got fucking weird. Oh man. I rewatched it before we did this show.
Nice.
It was better.
Yeah. So let's get into night two. And in fact, let's get into night two on a separate day of recording this podcast. It's the podcast Too Big for One Night.
He did it. The absolute madman.
I'm now wearing different pants.
Beej is now wearing different pants, and it's a lot quieter.
Oh, sorry. I'll move it closer to the mic this time.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
How are your pants, Beej?
They're a little tighter.
Well,
but I've changed as a person.
Right, it's true. We've all changed in the past 2 days. The reason that I wanted to mention that we are recording the second half on another day is, rather than just pretend that we did this all in one sitting, is because I've now had opportunity to see some footage from the Tommaso Ciampa Johnny Gargano match.
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen the match, but I watched the highlight clip that WWE put up on their YouTube, because this was a match that was supposed to happen at NXT TakeOver before WrestleMania, and obviously that didn't happen. So they basically parsed the TakeOver matches out over successive episodes of NXT, and this match takes place in the Performance Center, in and around it's like not entirely in the ring, but in and around the ring,
Yeah.
and it's shot cinematically, and it's terrific.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's basically everything that I was popping off about for those listening about an hour ago uh, is like basically I wanted to say that I've seen it so that we don't get people going, oh Graham, you should see it. Was this the sort of thing you meant? Yes, that's exactly the sort of thing I meant.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to watch it now. I didn't realize it was shot cinematically.
I didn't realize either, and then I saw clips of it and I was like, this is amazing. It's so good.
Yeah.
Anyway, but back to WrestleMania night 2. So they play. Steph welcomes people to the show again, and she's like, "Welcome back to the show. That's just too big for one night." I like how she says superstars are performing on a closed set and other locations, but she also said the night before. I just forgot to mention it. And then the same video package from the night before, like the whole Pirates of the Caribbean thing.
That was
the
weird,
same,
right?
like 6-minute long video.
Yeah. It was weird that they played the whole, like they just ran the whole thing back. I wonder what that's when I first was watching, I was like, this is weird. Like it just feels weird, right?
Yeah.
Is that like what choice from like a production standpoint would they have? Just we have it, so we might as well use it.
I mean, I probably would have just jumped right to the like, and now brought to you by Snickers. It's WrestleMania. Like just jumped right to that.
Yeah.
That part of the thing. But yeah, that was
No, I
odd.
just thought it was a weird choice.
Gronk is back.
Yeah. Gronk is back.
Yeah. He says they're going to drop the hammer this Sunday.
Yeah.
This is the hammer, I guess.
Yeah. And it's Sunday. When he said this Sunday, it's like, but it's Sunday right now. You never say this Sunday on the day that it's gonna,
Yeah.
That's a weird wording. It's like this Sunday. You mean today? Yes.
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 This
I mean
today.
This today.
Tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. I think Gronk is wearing these ridiculous sunglasses so that you can't see his eyes when he's reading a teleprompter.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, I could dig it.
Because they are profound sunglasses.
Yeah.
Anyway, our opening match for night 2
Yeah.
of WrestleMania, it's a wild opener, is the NXT Women's Championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rhea Ripley defending against Charlotte Flair.
So, like, leading into this, the whole story was Charlotte won the Royal Rumble. And then she was like, they're like, who are you going to challenge? She's like, I don't have to decide right now. I can decide whatever I want. And during that promo, Rhea Ripley interrupted her. And everyone's like, oh, okay. Because, I mean, we've made the comparison, and they made the comparison all the time leading up to this about how Rhea Ripley is just kind of like a second coming of Charlotte Flair, which is weird because you'd think a second coming of someone would be someone who's retired or like not an active wrestler, right? Like it's like It's like saying like, oh, if I got replaced on this show but I was still alive or something, like, you know what I mean? Like it's the second coming of Adam.
Yeah,
that's weird. He's still.
Yeah, it'd be like if you had someone, be like, this person, they're like the second coming of Seth Rollins, and Rollins is like, I'm still here.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So then Rhea Ripley had her match with Bianca Belair at the last takeover.
We did talk about this. I remember now.
Talk about that. Yeah. And then which Rhea won, and then Charlotte attacked her after the match, basically setting that up. And then they had some confrontation. They had a good confrontation on an episode of NXT. I think we talked about that as well, with Bianca being like, girl, like, what are you doing coming to NXT? Like,
you don't even go here.
Yeah. You don't go to this school. What are you doing at our prom?
Yeah.
So that was basically the lead up. It was good. Like, I liked it. I think Charlotte's great, but for some reason I'm just not that interested in her character, I guess. I don't know if that leaves me in the minority, but it's like, I think Charlotte's great and I don't have a problem watching her, but I'm just not invested whatsoever in either her personas as like a heel or a baby face, I guess, or whatever she was in this, which is some weird nebulous gray matter.
Yeah. I think they were positioning her definitely as the bad guy here.
Yeah.
Just because the crowd is so behind Ripley, and Ripley's had such a meteoric year. And yeah, I think Flair's character is just, I don't know. It's just so very
There. It's just there.
it's so very her dad. Like
Yeah.
it's so hard for them to not do that, right? It's like, I'm Charlotte Flair. That's right, Flair, as in Ric Flair. I'm Charlotte Flair, so I'm great. So I'm great.
Mhm.
And it's like, that's it. It's, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a knock too. I'm not trying to sound negative. It's just as far as the Charlotte character, it's like how I feel when I watch like Braun Strowman. I feel the same way. I'm just like, oh, he's
Mm.
kind of there. I was never really like into Braun, you know?
I was pretty into Super Braun when there was that big ongoing feud with Roman Reigns where he was just doing like absolutely inhuman stuff in
Mhm.
backstage segments.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm into this. I like this.
Yeah. I mean, that was
You know?
cool, but even at the same time, I was like, I could take him or leave him. Like if he was off the card, I wouldn't be upset. Or like,
Mm.
like when Charlotte's off the card, I'm like, oh, I really wish I could have watched Charlotte.
Mm.
But it's like it's weird just because she's so good, right? She does everything right. She has poise. She has like a character. She has everything going for her. She does most things right, and her matches are always great. Just I don't know. I can kind of take it or leave it. But this match was awesome. Like this
Yeah.
was like one of the first matches that I felt like it really benefited from the quiet arena. Because this
Mm.
reminded me a lot, like you know that scene in Saving Private Ryan where the dude where the dude gets stabbed and it's like dead silent. They're like fighting with each other. Do you know
Mhm.
what scene I'm talking about? Where he's like they're
Yeah.
like real close together. That's what this felt like. You know?
Yeah. There was a lot of talking too.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
was a lot of, and not like, not like calling spots. I saw some people complain about that, but I
I
didn't
didn't
notice.
notice.
I didn't notice. I didn't notice either. But
Yeah.
this, they had a lot of banter.
Mm-hmm.
Also, sorry, brief aside, we have to talk about the fact that Rhea Ripley is dressed like Vegeta,
Holy shit. Yeah, she was. Yeah, she did. Oh my god. How did I not?
and not like not like, oh, that's kind of funny. Her costume looks like it could kind of be. No, she's a huge DBZ fan. That she's definitely dressed like Vegeta.
That's hilarious. I didn't even notice. Like I didn't even catch it.
Yeah.
Do you think that's like because she saw the New Day come out and she's like, "Oh shit, we can do that. I want to do that."
Yeah.
People go wild for WrestleMania costumes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah, this match felt very much like a fight. I loved it. It was the majority of the match was Rhea had like a little bit of offense in the beginning, but then Charlotte kind of just took over through the whole match and she really worked over Rhea's leg, which Rhea sold almost perfectly, I think.
Mhm.
Like her screams were like that's the feeling I got, like that quiet, like when a movie does it and there's like these quiet moments of violence that are like supremely uncomfortable, and
Mhm.
that's kind of what they did really well with this
Yeah.
match.
There was a lot of like, I noticed actually overall, but as you say, particularly in this match, uh, moves, some moves like felt way worse than normal because you didn't just see the wrestler going like wincing and sort of rolling around grabbing the body part. There were
Mhm.
moments where in some of these matches where you could hear them being like like making just like
Yeah,
really awful unattractive pain sounds that it's just
yeah.
like, Jesus, you sound like you dying. What the, are you okay?
Mhm.
Is the ref gonna check on, like, really good actual acting of just
Yeah.
like there was one part, I don't remember what match it was, but I just remember someone making this like horrible sound of sucking wind, like they'd had their soul knocked out of their body, and it was
Yeah.
just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I could watch like I don't want the rest of the year to be empty arena shows, but it's something so different and refreshing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a nice break. Also,
Yeah.
we don't have like some crowd like chanting boring when it's not actually boring or something. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just trying to be jerks about something. So I don't know. I really like this match. I dug it. It was not the ending that I thought was gonna happen.
No, not I think most people did not call this,
Mm.
but at the end of the match, Charlotte Flair wins by making Rhea tap out to the figure eight.
Yeah.
So Charlotte is now the NXT Women's Champion.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess she's going to be on NXT on Wednesday.
Yeah, I guess like she wasn't doing much on the main roster, right? Like,
Well, no, because they just kept wanting to put her with Becky, and it's clear that she and Becky were both like, "Fuck, can you not?"
yeah, can we just do something else, please? So yeah, I mean,
I'm sitting here with a confused look on my face because I'm kind of like, I thought she was billing herself kind of as like the queen of the WWE practically, and now she's going to be in what was their developmental like prong. It sounds like.
But they're trying to push away from that like developmental feeling.
Okay.
They talk of NXT now as though it is a third brand, and it's obviously not on the same footing as Raw and SmackDown, but they do speak of it as a third brand these days.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, now it's more like, because I talked about this when we talked about TakeOver Oregon, right? When the I don't remember her name, interfered at the end of the Tegan Nox Dakota Kai match, and the announcers were like, "Oh, she's been making waves down at the Performance Center," and I'm like, "Are we supposed to know this? Like, are we supposed to be keeping tabs on who's at the goddamn Performance Center? Like, is the Performance Center now the NXT level?"
Okay.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't
it's
know.
a kind of wrestling we only have for private parties, like the kind of wrestling that we do, behind the curtain.
No, private parties on AEW. You're thinking of the Street Profits.
I'm so sorry. Jesus, wrestling jokes I don't even get.
Yeah,
whatever.
Fair.
Fine.
It was a good joke. Yeah.
Do you know how Private Party gets announced to the ring?
I would not.
They hail from a destination where you need an invitation, and they weigh a combined. The tag team weighs a combined 12 ounces of vodka cranberry.
Wow. Yeah. Ooh.
It's pretty good.
It's nice. I like it. They have a guy with a velvet rope who like lets them down to the ring area.
Yeah.
And
they put like some money in his pocket too to like.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's very good. It's very good.
Anyway, so yeah, Charlotte Flair beats Rhea Ripley. First match.
Mm-hmm. It was a good opener. I really liked it. Mm-hmm. So this next match, I don't even know why it happened.
You'd think that I would be able to explain that for you.
Yeah. But
being as it's technically under my purview. I have no recollection.
I don't think it was any reason. Maybe Lashley knocked on the door. Is that the like? Is Lashley knocking on the door? Come and knock on my door, and then now I just want to see Three's Company with Aleister Black and like two others.
Generally speaking, the Wikipedia article for a given pay-per-view has a section called background that talks about some of the storylines leading into it, which can be a good cliff notes for a situation like this.
Mm-hmm.
There's no mention of this feud on the Wikipedia entry. I don't remember. I don't know how things got resolved between Lana and Liv Morgan. I don't know where Rusev is. I don't know what happened.
All I know,
yeah.
And
so Lashley and Lana, I guess they'll pick that storyline back up when Rusev is no longer injured. But basically, they're just like, Lashley and Lana are married, and anyway, he's fighting Aleister Black, and like that's
yeah. But they tease like this match was fine. It was fine, dude. Bobby Lashley's so fucking boring. Holy shit. Dude, it's just like there's nothing to it. There's nothing there. It's like he's big and that's it. It's like I don't know, dude. I couldn't name. I know that he stole Mr. Steal your girlfriend or whatever. Like that's pretty much it. But everything else, like I don't know. It's just like I don't give a fuck. Okay, every time I see him,
yeah. If you look at his face and the way he expresses, it's just like there's no indication of, like, yeah, he was Mr. Steal Your Girl and he looked exactly the same as he did when he was a good guy, or exactly the same as he did when he was a monster heel, right? Like if you need to be using the Kuleshov effect to figure out how he's supposed to be emoting, it's probably a problem.
Yeah. So yeah, Aleister Black wins after the Black Mass, which is that spinning hook heel kick that he does. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's even more impressive, like in the quiet of the arena, because he slaps his leg, little slap kick.
Oh yeah, sound just rings through the place. Yeah.
Lana, there's sowing seeds for them breaking up, I guess, because Lana, like Lashley had like Aleister Black like on like scooped up for like a power slam.
Yeah.
And then Lana's like, no, I want you to hit the spear. And so Lashley puts Black down and then waits for him to go back or get back up. And then he goes for the spear. And that's when Black hits the Black Mass.
Yeah.
And then they got a good shot of Lana like looking either shocked or angry or something. I don't know.
Yeah. She was like, no, wait. No, spear. And the thing is, Lashley was like, he looked at her like, oh, good idea.
Yeah.
He was like, you're a thinker. So he put
and
her down.
nobody thinks like that. Nobody would ever react like that in a real situation. Like if I had if I was in a fight, if I was fighting you, Graham, and I had you on my shoulder and I'm like, I'm going to slam him down on the ground. This is going to be the end of this. I got to finish this. And then Beej was like, no, give him the spear. And I'm like, hey, yeah, that's a good idea. So I'll put you down from your total vulnerability to like, let you get back up so I can run into you. Like, that's fucking dumb as shit.
Why not do the slam and then do the spear? Like, why be like, oh, you're right. Let me put him down gently and then.
Yeah.
Make sure he's standing.
That's actually a way better point. I didn't even think about that. Why not just slam him first and then let him get. That's so. Oh my God. It just got dumber. Oh no. Yeah. Why just put him down?
I don't know. I like that. Lana is sort of like, I like her as the tactics person, right? That was where it was. That's where she shined in the early days of Lana and Rusev, is when she was like in charge of him, right? And she'd be like, she'd order him to like keep the accolade cinched in and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess she's not good at coaching Lashley. There's a backstage segment with Bayley and Sasha Banks. The backstage reporter asks about, because Bayley has a fatal 5-way for the title later tonight.
Yeah. That's WrestleMania talk for we don't know what to do with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When they put people in like a multi-person match, it's generally like, we've got to do something. Especially like the SmackDown Women's Championship. Like if they don't have like a solid storyline like they do with like Becky or somebody.
Yeah, then they just turn it into like a marquee kind of match. It's like, oh, it's a 5-way.
Yeah. Oh, your favorites are all here.
Yeah.
And so, but Sasha Banks, who's like Bayley's good friend and supporter and sort of partner, even though they're not like a tag team, but Banks is aligned with Bayley. Banks is in the match, and so Bayley's complaining that she's at a huge disadvantage, and the reporter's like, oh yeah, also Sasha's in the match, and Bayley's like, that's irrelevant, and walks off in a huff. And Sasha Banks, like a human would do, awkwardly stays standing with the reporter, who's like, well, now that she's gone, what do you think, Sasha? And Sasha just like doesn't answer the question and then leaves.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we got a recap of Watch Mojo Rawley steal the 24/7 title from the Gronk.
Yep. And Gronk says that he wants the title back by the end of the night.
God.
So we have our ongoing plot line.
Yeah, that's such a gripping storyline too.
One of the most hotly anticipated matches from a storyline perspective of the night, and I'm not even being sarcastic.
Nope.
Dolph Ziggler versus Otis.
Yep. Otis and Mandy Rose had like a thing. They were kind of flirting with each other. They were supposed to go on a date together, and they set up this date for Valentine's Day. And then they show Otis backstage. They recap this before the match too. And they showed Otis backstage getting ready for the date, wearing like a tuxedo, no sleeves, of course. Or like a dress jacket, no sleeves. And he's getting ready for his date. And then he gets a text. And it's Mandy saying she's going to be running a little bit late and not to rush. And he's like, okay. So then he's like, okay, I'll just wait a little bit longer. And that's cool. I'll see you then. And then Otis shows up to the date late, but Mandy had already been there. And when by the time Otis showed up, he came in just to see Dolph Ziggler sitting down with Mandy and them having dinner together. To which,
because it had been shown that Dolph had shown up earlier, and he was like, "Well, if you're," because that she'd been sitting there waiting, right?
Yeah.
She
was sitting there waiting at an empty table, and then a hand came on her shoulder, and then she was like, "Otis, you're late," and she looked, and it's Dolph, and then Dolph's like, "Well, if you're just going to be sitting here all alone, then time for me to hang out." So he sits down, which is like that's how dates work, right? Like if you just see an empty seat,
it's just like the Royal Rumble.
Yes, Beej?
I was around when we talked about this, and that's fine, but I missed the part where it was like Mandy texted him to say, I'm running a little behind. You don't have to go so fast.
Yeah, just wait, Beej. We'll get there.
Okay,
because
now I'm starting to wonder about why that happened.
Yes. Okay. Very good. Very astute, Beej.
I pay attention. I have good reading comprehension.
Yeah. So they show this, and Otis gets all sad and walks away. And then for the next little while, Mandy and Dolph are like kind of together on screen, and also off screen they do some like social media work where they would like tweet pictures of themselves together and stuff like that. And Otis is getting more and more upset as time comes on, and they finally set up this match for WrestleMania. But the go home episode of SmackDown, we find out that so they're I can't remember who's having the match. Is it Dolph and it's not Dolph, it's like Dolph and somebody else. Dolph and Tucker.
Oh right, yeah, because Tucker is mad at Dolph for stealing that date.
Yeah,
and so he's standing up for his boy Otis. Tucker is Otis's tag team partner. Otis and Tucker from Heavy Machinery.
Thank you very much.
Man, I just had a thought too. Like I always have, the way WWE does these angles, these relationship angles, always makes it out like the men are owed this. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, what about Mandy's feelings in this whole situation, right? Like,
wait a minute. Owed this, Otis. Oh, it's all coming together.
I think
grabbing like a bunch of red string. Fucking.
You'll find that she was sitting there by herself, which meant that she was up for grabs.
Yeah, that's, and it's like, well, fucking, it's just like a typical like. I don't want to blame Vince, but it just feels like a very Vince like alpha male. Like, well, she just started there. You take it, pal. Like, So it just comes off as like super awkward, and I hate the way that they do a lot of these storylines. Anyway. And so now Tucker is mad at Dolph for stealing this date from Otis, his best friend, and they're having a match. And then in the middle of the match on the Titantron, we've been getting like these weird graphical glitches on SmackDown.
Yeah,
leading up to this, like they just show it, and a lot of people thought it was WWE had just signed a guy by the name of Killer Cross, and they thought, oh, he's just debuting on the main roster. That is not the case. I think Killer Cross is going to NXT. But we keep getting these graphical glitches, and then on this episode of SmackDown, finally the graphical glitches like happen, and then they show like a hacker man with his back to like a bunch of computer monitors.
I believe it's generally assumed that this is Mustafa Ali.
Yeah, I think that's the general theory, is that it's Mustafa Ali. Because like I like the fact that they kind of portrayed him as like a Batman, right? He's Batman,
okay,
basically. Yeah. And so
do you remember that promo that went nowhere where he was like, I'll stand up for you, and there was like the like
the person drinking a bottle of Corona, like, or like they were drinking
out of a paper bag in the middle of the day. Like looks over at Ali like, oh, and he like puts his hand on her shoulder, and she drops the beer, and I guess gets over drinking. Like it's
it's weird, dude. But I was like, it was dumb and stupid, and I was like, I want more of this. Like, to give me this. So. And then we see Hacker Man, and he's like, and they have like a voice changing thing. He's like, so you got to know the truth. And so he shows a backstage clip, because of how they get this fucking footage. Nobody knows, but don't you think they would notice that there was a cameraman standing there,
Yeah.
So they get this clip of Sonya and Mandy talking before Mandy leaves for her date. And then Sonya's like, okay, well, have fun. I'll see you later. And Mandy leaves her phone, which is fucking bullshit. Nobody would leave their phone.
No.
Correct.
Right? So that's dumb. That's like the biggest chink in this stupid story. It's just like, why would you leave your phone? Like, come back. So no millennial worth their salt is leaving their phone at home.
Absolutely.
So she leaves her phone with Sonia, and she leaves for her date. And then Sonia notices that the phone's unlocked for some reason still. And Sonia gets on the thing and texts Otis and says, "Hey, I'm going to be late. But don't worry, I'll just take your time," or whatever. And she's like, she sends it, and then she deletes the messages right afterwards. And then they see another clip of her and Dolph talking backstage, and she's like, "Yeah, I sent the text. I need you to do this because I don't want to lose my best friend to this ape, I guess, or like this idiot, you know."
She was doing her a favor.
Yeah, she was doing her a favor.
She should be grateful.
Then we get to the WrestleMania match, and Sonia comes down with Dolph. And
Which brief aside,
Mhm.
I hate that. I hate this is WWE characterization again,
Yeah.
which we've complained about a lot, right? Is that like Sonia has done the bad thing.
Yes.
So now she's just aligned with Dolph. She's just in his corner now for this match. What?
Mhm.
No,
Yeah.
Dolph was just a dude that she went to and was like, "Hey, you want to go on a date with Mandy? You know, then it's win-win for both of us. You should go do that." And now that they've been rumbled, she's like, "Yep, and now we're a team." And it's like, no, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not how people be.
Yeah. You don't think it'd be like that, but it do.
Yeah. That's how
Yeah.
a soap opera works, certainly.
Yeah.
Exactly, but that's not. Yeah,
It doesn't feel real.
no, it doesn't. Also, I should mention that some people were very invested in this, in the Otis Mandy Rose thing, and I saw a lot of, like, oh, like Sonia let her her friendship with Mandy Rose, sort of like cloud her judgment and make her do these things. And I'm just like, yes, friendship. Her totally platonic friendship.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is the most like just gal pals. Like, no, they are like, as it has been presented very subtly and badly and without much care and attention, as it has been presented in WWE, Sonya Deville, the character, like Sonya, like the performer, is gay, and Mandy is bi.
Yeah.
And they have been a couple. Like, they literally kissed on an episode of SmackDown.
Yeah.
And it's like through this entire thing with Otis, Sonya has been getting more and more jealous and agitated through this whole thing. Like, this is obviously not like, oh, I was afraid of losing my friend. This is a lover's quarrel.
Yeah.
But they are absolutely not saying that. They are not addressing that at all. They're like, oh, it was because they were friends and she was afraid of losing her friend to Otis. And it's like, that's not the story you've been telling.
Yeah, two friends can kiss with their tongues.
I'll keep that in mind once this pandemic is over.
Yeah. All right. Is that an invitation, Beej? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Fine. Yes.
Yum, 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 yum.
I should always say yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very it's very distressing for me now to hear all this come together, because I'm kind of like, oh, like the cheap abandonment. Are they even together in the storyline still, or were they ever together, or they made out?
They didn't even make out. Like, they'd been hinting at it.
Oh, okay.
It was very subtly established. This might have been before you were on the podcast, but like, I called it like a while ago. I was like, they're teasing towards them being a same-sex couple, and they're going to handle it badly.
Yeah,
Like,
this is going to be a shit show. Yeah.
I don't know how long ago this was.
Yeah.
But then they got more and more overt with it until, like, after a successful win. I don't know if it was the two of them in a tag match, or maybe it was Mandy in a singles match, and then they kissed in the ring, and it was like not really commented on and never happened again. But through all of this, the way that Sonya was reacting completely doesn't make sense if they were only ever just friends.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Well, I mean, WWE, the only other time they've ever handled, like, didn't they do this? I missed this era of WWE, but like the whole Mickey James thing. She was like, they placed
that
her
was
as like,
that is a bad example. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was obsessed with. I mean, her character debuted as a manic fan, a fanatic, if you will, a
Yeah.
fan of Trish Stratus to the point of like sexual obsession. Yes.
Yeah. So, hey, at least we can thank our lucky stars that they didn't take her down that route, right?
Mm.
I
But
guess.
where does that then leave the fight? Because if you have Dolph and Sonya walking to the ring, and Dolph's having a fight with Otis,
Mm-hmm.
so does Mandy even factor into this anymore?
Well,
not at the beginning of the match.
Not at the beginning. So they have their match.
Okay.
And at one point, I think Sony interferes. She like gets involved, right? And
I believe so, yes.
DeVille ends up getting involved. Can't remember what she does. She just distracts the referee from when she jumps up on the apron when Otis is going to hit the caterpillar or whatever, the worm.
And
yeah.
And then Ziggler hits a low blow.
Yes, and then Mandy's music hits. She comes out. She slugs Sonya, and then she gets in the ring, hits a low blow on Ziggler when the ref is, I don't know, I think the ref is like looking at Sonya or something, or he's doing something.
Okay.
And so Mandy hits a low blow on Ziggler, and then Otis hit the caterpillar to win the match. So then we get our nice little WrestleMania moment.
What you're saying is that Otis hit a caterpillar, but just before that, Mandy also hit a caterpillar.
Yeah, sure
Yeah.
did, Beej. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all coming together. Red strings on chalk and chalkboards.
You're such a fucking dumbass. You cracked me up. Oh man, that got me. Shit. So then Otis and Mandy celebrate in the ring, and Otis picks her up, and then they have a little smooch. And there we go. So these two are now a couple. They've been doing stuff on social media together, doing workouts together, which is weird seeing two people together, right?
Oh yeah.
It's like weird seeing two people so close together. I'm like, oh, I don't think I agree with this, but you do you, I guess.
And now in real life, though, Mandy's married to a different wrestler.
Is she? I don't know.
I don't actually know.
Okay,
I have no idea.
I cannot remember. I thought it came up at one time we were talking where it was like, oh, this whole thing with Otis and but they're not actually, like, Mandy's already married to somebody, I thought, but maybe that's not the case.
I have no idea. Speaking of matches that are equal to long, drawn out moments of quiet violence, topped off by somebody getting fucking stabbed, usually. This next one is fuck, man.
What a segue.
This is I loved it. I thought it was a bit long. I think that's the common complaint.
Yeah.
But goddamn if it didn't probably give the best, I think it was the best moment of the night.
I
to this.
I agree with you in terms of that. I loved it, and I know that I didn't find it that long. I guess I was just sort of like tired and not like quite in my right headspace because I was like, yeah, it felt like it was long, but I wasn't like, Jesus Christ, when's this going to end? I was just like, okay,
yeah.
So this is Edge versus Randy Orton in a last man standing match.
Randall Keith, dude. Randall Keith from Candlekeep. We haven't made that reference in a long time. We kind of fell out of doing that one.
That's also because Randy hasn't been doing much recently, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
What's Edge's D&D character?
Ooh, fuck. I don't know. I'd have to think because like Randall Keith from Candlekeep works because we don't call him like Adam Copeland from fucking. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something.
Pasadena.
Well, Pasadena's not in the Forgotten Realms, Beej.
Oh, I see. I thought you're like, it's just completely, it's a made up character from a made up place. I see what you're saying.
Candlekeep's a real place, and I won't have you fucking. Candlekeep's real to me, damn it.
There's got to be some place in the Forgotten Realms that's like something land You can do Copeland from
Wolf.
I don't know, but
Land.
Wolfland. Yeah, is he
Wolf?
now?
Yes, famous Forgotten Realms location, Wolfland.
Wolfland.
I heard
Now-
Drist likes to hang out there.
Thing is, it all came together perfectly, right, for Randy, because he's the Viper, right? So
Yeah.
he's the he like attacks people out of nowhere. So it's like, okay, right, yeah, Randall Keith from Candlekeep, he's the Wanty assassin.
Yeah,
We got that all figured out. I don't know, like, I don't know what you do with the rated R superstar.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway,
he's something Viking because he's in that TV show Vikings, right?
He is in Vikings,
like a fighter of some kind.
Yeah. Hailing from Orangeville, Ontario.
Mm-hmm. Man, the build to this was great too.
Yeah, so Edge returns at the Royal Rumble against all odds. It's 9 years prior.
Yeah.
He did a match at WrestleMania, defended the heavyweight title, I want to say against Alberto Del Rio.
Yeah, I think so.
Like successfully defended the title. And then the next night on Raw, like the next night, he was like, hey, so after the match, wasn't feeling great, had been feeling some weirdness in my neck for a while, went and got a whole bunch of scans, and they say that if I take one more bad bump, then I'll be completely paralyzed from the neck down, or maybe die. So I'm retiring as of immediately right now. Here's the title. Bye. And it was, I'm underselling this, by the way. It was a deeply emotional speech, and it was like a really big deal.
Yeah.
So, and how wild is that? It's like you do WrestleMania on Sunday, and you go backstage after the match, and you're like, my neck feels like kind of like tingly, and they're like, we're getting you an MRI immediately, and then the next night on Raw, you're like, never wrestling again. Later.
Yeah. I can't even imagine that, like, from a mental health standpoint, where it's like it's your job and it's everything you love, and then the next less than 24 hours later, they're like, you can't do this thing anymore. Like the effect that has on somebody, like that's wild to me. The change and like completely just you're losing everything all at once. It's like, man, that's a lot. That's heavy.
So then he returns at the Royal Rumble, and people are like, what? But I thought that what? And he turns out, he's worked really hard on like recovery and physical therapy, but also had a second, more interesting and newer, different surgery. That because he'd already had a spinal fusion surgery at that point, and this is now a like different, better surgery, and he's able to wrestle. And there's apparently going to be a whole. It may have even already aired. There's a whole documentary on WWE's network does great documentaries. And there's a whole one.
They have like a series called 24.
Yeah,
where they follow like a wrestler for 24 hours or whatever.
And there's a whole one on Edge, and just from the trailer, he's like, "This was supposed to be about life after wrestling," and then like they had cameras with him because they were already making an episode about like what's Edge been up to. Let's he's been doing Vikings and stuff. He's got a family now. Let's do an episode about Edge because he's still technically under some kind of contract. So let's do a thing. And then as they were filming this, it was like, oh wait, he's going to get back in the ring. Holy moly.
Yeah.
And so, and looking amazing. Like he obviously has put in a lot of work at age 46 to look like that. And he was explaining all of this on the Monday Night Raw after the Royal Rumble, and then Randy Orton came out, and of course they were a very popular and successful tag team of Rated RKO, the Rated R Superstar and the RKO, and they were like, hey, what's up? We're buddies. We were good friends. We were successful. That's awesome. Maybe we should, I don't know, get the band back together. What do you think? And they were like, hell yeah, that sounds like fun. Maybe we could do some stuff. And then Randy beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Like brutally.
Yeah. There's a move that Edge and Christian, who were a tag team, used to do called the Concerto, which was super dangerous, but it looked super dangerous. I don't know how dangerous it actually was, but it's a little spooky just because it's like they each take a chair and then basically swing the chairs at the same time at the person's head on either side to make like a sandwich, a little chair
the
sandwich.
concerto. Okay.
Concerto,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And it was like their big thing, and they used to do it to put people out of action for a while when they were heels. And if you've never, actually, now that I can mention it, if you've never seen Edge and Christian's heel tag team run, you should probably go back and watch like some clips of it, because they did some brilliant stuff where they would show up in the towns, like usually the town, whenever they were in, they would go for cheap heat in some way.
Oh, yeah.
And they had this thing called the 5-second pose. So they would tell everybody with the benefits of flash photography, you have now 5 seconds to take our picture.
Yeah. For the benefit of those with flash photography.
Yeah. And then they would pose in the ring, and they'd usually have some goofy costumes on. They were like very comedy heels, but with a very serious, because the concerto kind of like legitimized them as heels.
Okay.
Like they made them dangerous. Like they had this thing that they could do to people to really mess them up, but they were kind of goofy. I remember them being, I think there was I remember there being a really great segment where they were like in Detroit, and they were wearing like Detroit Red Wings hockey jerseys, I think, and they were just talking trash about the team. But this was like when Detroit was actually good.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But anyway, that's that. And so like this whole feud leading up was Edge attacked Beth Phoenix too.
Yeah.
At one point,
Who is Edge's wife?
Yeah.
And yeah, well, it was because so the single person concerto, the way that it works, if there's only one of you, is that you incapacitate them so they're laying on the ground of the ring. You put a chair under their head, and then you hit them on the head with the other chair.
Yeah.
And the way it works is because you do it facing the hard camera, but all you're doing is you hit the chair on like a 45-degree angle into the other chair.
Yes.
So that the head of the person you're hitting is safely within that triangle where it actually can't be hit, and it makes a big clatter noise and probably sucks for the person's ears, but doesn't actually like hit them, but it looks brutal. So that happened. The next week, Beth Phoenix came out and started cussing Randy out and was like, what do you, I thought you were our friend. What the heck? And yeah, Randy attacks her. And what did he say his motivation was in the video package that they played? I'm trying to remember.
Oh, he's trying to he's trying to end Edge to send him back to his family. Like it's protecting him from wrestling.
Yeah.
That
was it. Because he loves him.
Yeah. He loves Edge, and he wants to protect him from more wear and tear from wrestling. So he's trying to end his career.
Yeah, he wants to send him home to his wife and kids, because he loves Edge's family more than Edge does. He like names his daughters, which is always big heat. Yeah, he's like, I love what are their names? One of them's called Lyric.
Yeah, Lyric's one of them.
Yeah.
So basically, Randy just like fucking told Edge that he wanted, or is saying that he wants to send Edge home to be a family man, like fucking Guile from Street Fighter. It's like, go home and be a family man. It's like, all right. And then there's like a 16-bit version of Edge walking away slowly.
It just gives me a completely different way of looking at that gif of the dude who's like, I'm about to ruin this man's whole career. And I'm like, oh, he's doing it out of love.
Yeah.
In that rap battle.
But that's been Randy's, like, when Randy's at his best, it's when he is doing something that he thinks is from a good place, but is really just fucked up.
Oh, okay.
Randy's very good at that. That's the one thing that I think when Randy's at his best, when Randall is at top form, it's when he's being this weird, sadistic kind of like, I get what you're saying, kind of, but it's fucked up at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, at least you have a point.
I believe that you believe that.
Yeah, I believe very much that Randy believes that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to derail things, just to get my shit in, but is a single person concerto just known as a sonata?
Fucking goddamn it, Beej.
That's too smart for the audience.
Thank you for letting me get my shit in.
No problem.
Quit trying to get yourself over, brother.
The audience loves me. They don't even have to see me on the podcast. They love me already.
Yeah, they do love you. They'll turn on you.
Hey, Will, it's true. I'm currently just I'm their ears in the room is all I am.
You're like a new call up from NXT, and we're all excited to see you. Like, oh, he's a brand new, fucking yeah. And then like in a year, everyone was like, God, I'm so sick of that asshole.
Remember when they didn't let him speak? It was so much better.
So this match is like 35 minutes.
Whoa!
Yeah, it's a fucking long one. There's a real awkward moment where Randy chokes Edge with a steel cable, which a lot of people were really upset about, because it was the whole Benoit thing.
Oh,
yeah, which I don't think they did on purpose.
I didn't even think of that. I
Yeah.
definitely did not remotely make that connection.
I thought of it. I don't think they did it on purpose. So I was like, ooh, that's kind of awkward because, like, yeah. So the whole Benoit, because they just released a documentary about the Benoit thing. They did there's like a series, a TV or an online series or something called like The Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah.
And they did an episode on Benoit and the tragedy that happened there. And they even had like Chris Jericho and a bunch of other people do the show. Like Vicky Guerrero was on it. I haven't watched it, but yeah, it was a little weird. But it didn't, I don't think they did it on purpose. Right. So it was just a little strange, but like the fight, they just fought all over the Performance Center, basically.
Yeah, this was a great tour of the entire Performance Center.
Yeah.
They used no square inch unturned.
Yeah. There was a
They
great
used
scene.
every part of the Performance Center.
It's like using every part of the buffalo.
Exactly.
Do we get to see the electrical room? The network closet?
The network closet. Yeah. Like,
I don't know if they did. It was clear from Becky's entrance the previous night that there was a lot of stuff in the parking lot. Like there was a lot of like the production truck and things, and there was like a lot of temporary portable offices and stuff out in the parking lot for this. I forgot to mention how weird Becky's entrance was, by the way, earlier in the podcast.
Oh yeah, we just kind of glossed over it, didn't we?
It was just that it was so dead ass silent.
Yeah.
There was no music. There was barely any ambient noise. She drives up in this Optimus Prime looking semi-trailer cab, which is kind of seems weird for Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
And it pulls just into the parking lot and parks. And then she gets out and walks the rest of the way. And it's utterly silent the whole time. And it's like, this is weird. This is a very strange energy in this moment. And then she gets into the ring and her theme music starts, or gets into the arena and her theme music starts, and her like smoke jets go off and they're so loud.
Yeah. Would it have been better if the semi actually turned into a robot?
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's true of most days.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true of most entrances. Like if some part of the random arena just turned into a robot, I'd be like, whoa. Well, I never thought I'd like Bobby Lashley this much. Oh man, that guy would eat me alive if you ever heard me talking shit about him. I should probably stop. So yeah, there's a great part of this fight where they're like fighting in the hallway. It's like a fucking office hallway. There's like posters on the wall and stuff, and then they like get knocked into the cameraman. So like the cameraman eats shit and like falls down, and the camera like there's a great little. I don't know. I just really like that part because it just made it feel like more of a real fight.
Yeah, I liked how it started with because Randy attacked Edge before they even began.
Yeah,
right? Like Edge was disguised as Randy was disguised as a cameraman.
I like that Edge was disguised as a cameraman, and then Randy found him. He's like, "I use my superior hunting tactics."
That would be funny. So yeah, because the thing is
Sorry, I'm thinking about this more now. Now I'm just like, what if Randy Orton comes down to this ring and then he's like, "Where's Edge?" And then the camera pans over and there's Edge in his wrestling attire, just holding a camera, like trying to hide. He's like, no Edge is here. Like,
okay.
What
if it's just prop hunt all of a sudden?
Maybe Edge is the stairs. Damn it.
Sorry, you were gonna say.
Edge comes down, Randy's music hits, nothing happens, then Randy hits the RKO out of nowhere, and I'm like, how
Yeah.
there's like 6 people in the room.
You just see him. It's like in Monty Python when Sir Lancelot's running from like
Yeah, exactly.
There he is. I found him. It's like, oh, he's right there. Yeah.
So it turns out they played it. They did a replay from another angle where Randy was in like all black gear and holding an actual one of their live cameras, and that's how he was disguised. And then so yeah, he hits like 2 RKOs and Edge can barely stand, and then the ref's like, you gotta be able to stand before I can start this match. So Edge is like already in a really bad way. Randy eventually hits him with the camera, which is still live, which is kind of funny. They cut to it briefly, and then they fight into the weight room, and like this goes on for like a while before Edge even remotely gets the slightest amount of an upper hand. But Beej, are you familiar with what a last man standing match is?
Is it like Falls Count Anywhere?
No.
Nothing
So
like
it's
Okay.
there's no pinfall, no submission. The only way to win is you have to incapacitate your opponent to the point that they cannot stand back up to both feet before the referee counts to 10.
Does that mean that you could like put a forklift on top of them?
Yes.
That's happened before.
Okay.
One time, John Cena duct taped Batista's legs together to a ring post and just
It's
left.
like they weren't even having a match.
One time John Cena duct taped Batista's legs together. But anyway, back to last man standing matches. Just like it's a completely unrelated anecdote. I love it.
Okay, I'm clear on how this works. Thank you.
Yeah, so basically you just have to beat the piss out of your opponent until they can't stand up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah.
They end up fighting into like the loading dock, kind of, or like there's like a bunch of trailers like in this area. And Edge goes to set up the punt kick, which was a big deal back in the day. So Orton, sorry, was doing the punt kick.
See?
Yeah. Yeah. So Orton was trying to do the punt kick, which was, he used it way back in like the early to mid 2000s. Randy Orton's gimmick was he was the legend killer. And they used to bring in like a bunch of old, like either retired or currently wrestling on the indies wrestlers who were like legends back in the day. So like I think they had like Mick Foley and like I think Jake the Snake.
Oh wow.
And they did a bunch of other ones, which I can't name at the moment, but he would do this thing where he would punt. He would just kick them in the fucking head. They'd be like they'd be on their hands and knees, and then he would charge from across the ring and just kick them in the head. And that was like his big thing. And it would like incapacitate people, right?
Right.
So I just wanted to get some context of why this punt kick was so dangerous. They've teased it a couple times.
Yeah, he's teased it a couple times since then, but I don't think they actually use it anymore.
No, it's
for like actual, like, we can't be doing this because of it looks like Concussion to Town USA.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they sometimes, rarely, and for the benefit of people who are paying attention like us, he has teased it.
Mm-hmm.
And that definitely happens here. And it's like, oh, he's going for the punt kick. This would have been a match to use it in.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he goes for the pump kick. He goes for the punt kick. And then Edge hits him with a spear. But Orton gets up at 9. This is near the end.
This is on top of an 18-wheeler.
Yes.
Clarify.
Yeah.
This is on the roof of the trailer of an 18-wheeler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
it's
Sorry.
precarious.
Precarious.
It's a precarious situation.
So Orton hits Edge. I'm getting them both mixed up, dude. Edge, they look nothing alike.
Yeah.
Edge hits Orton with a spear. Orton gets up at 9.
Oh.
Orton hits the RKO, or Edge goes for another spear.
There's been a lot of that, by the way. This is like we said, this is a 36-minute
There's been a lot of
match.
RKOs, yeah.
And there's been a lot of like referee counting and just barely getting back up.
Yeah.
Right. Like I love at one point they're in the conference room, which has this like weird chain link ceiling treatment. And so Randy's on the conference table and Edge pulls himself up to the ceiling of this chain link and does like an elbow drop from the ceiling onto the conference table. It's like, wow, you really are using every part of this place. All right. Yeah. So sorry, back to the end.
Yeah. And then Edge goes for a second spear. Randy hits the RKO. Then Randy goes and gets 2 chairs. And so he sets up Edge and he puts the chair on the ground and then he's going to set it up. And well, at first he hits Edge in the back with a steel chair. And then he sets up the concerto and he's like, I'm going to send you back to your family. And he goes to slam the concerto on Edge's head, but Edge gets up and traps him in like this submission hold. It's the same one that Jake Hager has been using, that like standing side choke or whatever the fuck it's called, some super MMA name. But anyway, they put him in that submission and then Randy like passes out. And then, goddamn, dude, this is like the best part of this match. So it's like quiet, right? And Edge stops the referee from counting. And he like, God, he acts his ass off, basically. And he gets this look on his face like he's like he doesn't want to do it, but he has to do it because like if you don't stop this evil right now, it's going to keep chasing you. And he sets up Randy with the concerto, and then it's like he's like almost crying when he's about to do it. And then it's like quiet too. Like you hear a pin drop. The ref's not counting. The commentary is not doing anything. And you just hear Edge's breathing. And then Edge like goes up and hits the concerto in this complete silence. Sounds like a gunshot goes off. And Randy does this noise that's like, oh my God, he's fucking dead. Oh! He like, Randy goes like, like fucking dies. And he does that thing where like, you know, when somebody really gets hurt and they twist in this weird way and they freeze there for a second.
Yeah.
That's what Randy does. And then the ref counts to 10 and Edge wins. And he's just standing over Randy this whole time, just staring at him. It's fucking awesome. And I was like, that's the best moment. Please give me more of that. But you fucking know that they're going to replay that moment and they're going to put some dumbass music underneath it. And it's going to ruin everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Like this match was like, yes, it was long, but I don't know. Like you could never have done a match this long with a live crowd.
No,
but I loved it.
Yeah, it was great. Loved everything.
It was, yeah.
Felt like a fight the whole time.
So how do we snap ourselves back to reality after that? Well,
yeah, this is peak WWE. Right?
The newly minted 24/7 champion Mojo Rawley is now running around from just like some random wrestlers. I can't even tell who they are.
Yeah. So we've watched Edge murder someone.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we smash cut to Mojo running away from a crowd of people with the 24/7 title.
And they sort of corner him near the ring, just under that like weird cherry picker crane. And so Gronk dives onto the crowd of them from up top and covers Mojo and wins the 24/7 championship and runs away.
Yep.
Ah.
Is that the quickest someone's ever won a title from being newly signed?
So
Probably.
That's what? That's like that was Chekhov's belt.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. So I think we did mention that Gronk has signed a contract, right?
Yeah. And this is also the last we see of him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Gronky Kong's not fucking showing up anytime soon.
Like he wins the 24/7 title and runs away and is gone for the rest of the show.
Is this just going to be like, can just anybody now participate in the 24/7? Like,
yes.
So I mean, like you guys could just get a contract and be like, fuck it, I just want to win the 24/7 for.
They don't even need a contract. They've had like random other people do it. Like they had like Truth doing a like a press junket, and like some known sports coverage guy won it.
Yeah.
Oh, good
like,
use. Yeah.
Yeah. Like let's see here. Titus O'Neil, Robert Roode, Truth, Elias, Truth, Jinder, Truth, Elias, Truth, Jinder, Truth, Drake Maverick, Truth, Slater, Truth, Cedric Alexander, EC3, Truth, Drake Maverick, Truth, Drake Maverick, Pat Patterson, Gerald Briscoe, Kelly, Candice Michelle, Alundra Blaze, The $1 Million Man, Drake Maverick, R-Truth.
Wait,
Those
what did
were
the
all-
$1 Million Man win it?
everything I just said was all not everything, but that last like blitz through names from Raw's past were all on the Raw reunion episode.
Jesus.
They just traded it just dung 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 back and forth.
Okay.
The million. Sorry, Alundra Blaze won it from Candice Michelle, and then was about to go throw it into a trash can.
Very good. Yeah,
because she famously jumped ship to WCW and threw the WWE Women's Championship in the trash can live on Monday Nitro. But before she could, the $1 Million Man just bought it from her.
Oh,
yeah, because that's his thing. Anyway, let me continue. So back to Truth, then Mike Kanellis, then Maria Kanellis, then Mike Kanellis, then Truth, then The Revival, then Truth, Elias, Truth, Rob Stone, who is he's a sportscaster on Fox Sports, covering various Major League sports, including Major League Soccer, NCAA, and NFL football, and the Professional Bowlers Association. Elias, Drake Maverick, Bo Dallas, Drake Maverick, Truth, Inez Cantor. I don't know who that is. He is a basketball player for the Boston Celtics.
Yep.
Truth, Mayor Glenn Jacobs, who is Kane.
Yeah.
Truth, EC3, Truth, EC3, Truth, EC3, Truth, EC3, Carmella, Marshmello. Like the DJ.
Who?
Oh, him. Yeah, he did a concert in Fortnite.
Yeah. That's all you need to know about it. He wears a bucket on his head.
Okay.
Carmella, Tamina, Truth, Sunil Singh, Truth, Sunil Singh, Truth, Michael Giaccho. He is WWE's senior account manager.
Okay, yeah.
We're not going to let you have your birthday off, but we'll let you win the 24/7.
Yeah. Truth.
My kid's recital on Thursday. Can I have it off? No, but we'll make it up to you.
Kyle Busch from NASCAR.
Oh, wait,
Truth.
like Kyle Busch?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. R-Truth, Akira Tozawa, Santa Claus.
Good.
Yeah.
Truth, Samir Singh, Sunil Singh, Truth, Samir Singh, Mike Rome, Sunil Singh, Truth, Samir Singh, Truth, Samir Singh, Sunil Singh, Truth, Mojo Raleigh, Truth, Raleigh, Truth, Raleigh, Truth, Raleigh, Truth, Raleigh, Truth, Raleigh, Riddick Moss, Truth, Raleigh, Gronk.
Gronk. I like how it ends.
Yeah. Gronk. So, yeah. What a wild title. Dude, fucking R-Truth has won that thing like 40 times.
I hate to be crass.
No, you do not.
I don't hate to be crass ever. If a guy won it,
yeah,
could his wife win it from him like that night?
That literally happened.
Yeah.
Oh. And then did he win it back a few minutes later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then did they innuendo that shit away as to how they kept passing the title back and forth?
Just over and over again. Well, they'd have to have a ref there, wouldn't they?
Oh, you're right. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Or maybe not that weird.
Oh, no, here you go. No, you'll love this. So Mike Kanellis won it when R-Truth was in a dog pile after a mosh pit tag team match featuring Truth and Carmella against Drake Maverick and his wife. Maria won it by forcing her husband to lie down for the pin in the locker room. Mike won it back by pinning her with a hug.
Aw.
During an OBGYN exam. by having a referee disguised as a nurse.
Holy fuck, wrestling sucks. Oh man, it's so embarrassing. Jesus.
I'm dying.
Oh my god, why? Every time I'm like, yeah, you should watch wrestling. It's real sick. And then they're like, shows you this. Like, fuck.
All right,
God.
so Gronk wins and then
Yeah.
runs off.
Yeah, and that's the last we see of Gronk or the 24/7 title tonight. Next, however, on WrestleMania,
It's actually true that if you looked at a picture of Gronk, he actually just faded away. We've altered history too much.
oh my god! All right, the Raw Tag Team Championship match.
Yeah.
The Street Profits defending against Angel Garza and Austin Theory,
Yeah.
accompanied to the ring by Zelina Vega. Now,
Yep.
Adam, as someone who doesn't watch Raw, you may be wondering. Question, Graham:
Yeah.
who in the hell is Austin Theory?
And I'm going to say that you don't know either.
That's an excellent question. Let me elucidate as best I can on that subject.
Okay.
He's this guy.
Shouldn't have been drinking.
I was hoping for awkward fart dot wave.
Yeah.
just.
Yeah.
Okay, so Zelina manages Andrade.
Yes.
And he got injured, like he storyline injured, and so then Zelina was like, well, now I got to manage some. She was mad at Humberto, and she's like, so now bringing Angel Garza up from NXT, and you guys are actually cousins, and you're going to fight about it. And then Andrade got actually injured, I think, and they were in a feud, and she's like, now I have to, that's my bread and butter because I'm a manager. So now I have this other guy, Austin Theory, who I think was in NXT, and it's literally, she was just like, and this guy, and he showed up, and then they were like, cool, now you have a match for the titles at WrestleMania. It's very, it was all very rapid and out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, I guess it shouldn't really shock you that the Street Profits retain in this match, but I mean, it was a fun match, but it was just sort of like,
It felt very much like filler.
Yeah,
it's very a filler match. The definition of a filler match.
Ah, Cavalcade of Immortals.
The fuck?
The showcase of the Immortals.
Yeah, sorry, my apologies.
Yeah, it's the showcase of the Immortals. Beej.
Sorry, just like the way you describe a wet fart of a tag team championship happening.
Yeah.
It's like, why would have that been even planned in the first place? What did that forward?
You need a break sometimes. Sometimes they'll just throw stuff in as like a beat, like a break for the crowd or whoever.
Because this match was supposed to be Andrade and Angel Garza versus the Street Profits, and I still don't know if they would have won necessarily. But I mean, also just WWE doesn't really care as much about their tag team division, which is why the Revival wanted to get out, and today officially at time of recording officially got their release.
So look for them in AEW soon.
I mean, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay.
After the match, Zelina attacks, like they attack the Street Profits after the match, and Zelina gets Garza and Theory to hold Montez Ford still, and gives him a pretty brutal super kick.
Yeah,
and then Bianca Belair runs down to the ring to attack Zelina Vega, and you're like, wait, why Bianca Belair's on NXT? What's this? And it's of course that she and Montez Ford are IRL married.
Yeah,
but they don't mention that at all.
No.
Okay.
So it's just because I didn't actually know that until later. So I was like, why is Bianca Belair? Is she debuting on Raw now? Why is she here?
Mm-hmm.
But okay. So then they pose.
Yeah.
Back up on that cherry picker.
Mm-hmm.
Titus O'Neil is there now.
Yeah.
And he does his, ooh, 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 and then is like, so Gronk left, so now I am the host of WrestleMania, so let's keep the party rolling.
That's how that works, right? It's like the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder if you just say that as a way to fill in when weird shit happens.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is this actually how the Royal Rumble works?
No.
Yeah. If you see an empty cherry picker that no one's shown up to, then you can just be like, well, I guess I can just take that now.
Oh,
if you see an empty host spot, Beej.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's no one hosting currently. You can step in and say, I am the host now, and everyone goes, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you didn't need to do that, because literally all that Titus says is, I'm going to take over as host, so let's keep it rolling. And later he says, I don't know what I just saw. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's all. Again, WrestleMania does not need a host if this is all you're going to have them do.
No, they need Vanguard 1.
Cool.
Chris Jericho cut a promo on Vanguard 1 a couple weeks ago, and it was great.
Yeah.
You ever want to see a man get angry at a DJI Phantom 5, like for like not the usual reasons?
Yeah.
And it's very entertaining.
Get mad at it like it's a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next is the SmackDown Women's Championship Fatal 5-Way Elimination match. So Fatal 5-Way is just 5-on-5, no DQ, whatever.
Yeah.
Elimination means that you, if someone gets pinned or submitted, then they're out, but the other 4 keep wrestling, and then 3, and then down to 2 until there's one person winning at the end.
Yeah.
So this is Bayley defending against Sasha Banks, as we mentioned earlier, Lacey Evans, Naomi, and Tamina.
Yep. And remember when I was like, they threw this together. Well, they literally threw this together. It was like maybe a week or 2 before.
Was it one of those ones where like Bayley's in the ring and she starts talking mad shit, and then like Lacey's music hits and she comes down to the ring and she's like, well, I think I should challenge you at WrestleMania. And then Naomi's music hits and she's like, well, I think I should challenge you. And then Tamina hits and she's like, well, I could beat all of you. And then someone is just like, it'll be all of you.
Yes.
Okay.
Ah.
I can't actually remember for the life of me. I just think that like the through line, the big storyline was just Sasha and Bayley and like trying to build some kind of tension between the two leading up to this. Cause it's like, from a character standpoint, why would Sasha ever just want to keep the title on Bayley? Right. It's like, obviously is your friend, but how does that benefit you? Cause you don't get paid extra. Cause like the canon is that the champion, you get paid more for being the champion, right? Mm-hmm. So unless your friend is giving you a cut of their champion's purse, why would you ever help them retain? Other than just being a good friend, I guess. But even then, it's like, wouldn't you want to make more money if you know you could beat your friend up? Right? Like,
well, Graham?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Graham.
Hey.
So I don't know. It's fine. I think they're going to end up, they're splitting up Sasha and Bayley at some point, right?
At some point, but not tonight.
Yeah, because like this match was fine. I don't know. It's like it ends up that like Tamina gets eliminated first. Yeah, everybody piles up on Tamina to pin her,
mm-hmm. And Bayley and Banks start working together almost immediately.
Yeah. And
also, honestly, my favorite part of this match was that it had been bugging me all weekend that there's no one in the room and the announcers are right there and the people in the ring can hear what the announcers are saying, obviously, but no one's acknowledging it.
Yeah.
And there's a bit partway through this match where Michael Cole is like something happens to Bayley and Banks and they like avoid getting eliminated and Bayley's outside the ring, like quite near the announce table. And Michael Cole's like, Bayley and Sasha Banks almost got eliminated. And Bayley's just like, no, we didn't.
Yeah, I forgot about that part. Yeah.
It's just like, oh, good. Yeah, you're actually acknowledging that there's people there talking about you.
Yeah. And then there's a point where Bayley and Banks are teaming up on Naomi and she fights them both off. And Naomi gets a 2 count on Banks. But then she ends up getting caught into the Banks statement and tapping out. And then it's Banks and Bayley against Lacey Evans, whose push has died down considerably, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like.
Oh, did we talk when we haven't talked about the very, very brief Team Bad reunion?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was, what did BAD stand for? Beautiful and Dangerous?
Yes, Beautiful and Dangerous.
Which was Sasha Banks, Naomi, and Tamina.
Mm-hmm. When Sasha Banks first got called up, I think they put everybody into factions.
Yeah, and they were like so there was a bit where it's just the three of them in the ring sort of facing off, and they all like tentatively do their like fist bump where they go unity,
Yeah.
and then they just immediately turn on each other. Like it's not that tenuous alliance does not last.
Yeah, it doesn't last very long.
Yeah. So sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, and then Bailey, Evans, and Banks all go at it. Banks and Bailey have like a disagreement. It's like I can't remember what happens. There's something that they like have a miscommunication.
Bailey goes for a running knee, and Lacey moves out of the way, and so Bailey hits Sasha Banks and like clocks her.
Yeah.
Banks, when she finally sort of comes back to, she's like, "What the hell?" And Bailey's like, "We'll talk about it later. I'm sorry, it wasn't what it was meant to happen," or whatever. And then Lacey hits Banks with the women's right and goes for the pin, and Bailey
just sits
doesn't try to break the pin up.
Yeah. She just watches it happen.
Yeah, so we're down to
our face.
Yeah, it was good. But now we're down to Bailey and Lacey Evans, which is not what I thought would happen. I assumed it would be down to Bailey and Sasha Banks, who had two absolute barnstormers of a match in NXT.
Yeah.
And you should go watch those matches because they were very, very good. And it comes down to it that it looks like Lacey's going to have the upper hand here. In fact, she hits a springboard moonsault at one point.
Yeah.
And but Banks, who's eliminated, hits Lacey Evans with a backstabber, and then Bailey follows up with a face buster and wins.
Yep.
And then after the match, Banks literally hands Bailey the belt and then hangs out at the back, sort of out of the ring, while Bailey starts like yelling at the cameras, like, "Look what I did all by myself."
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, it's I'm surprised that Sasha helped Bailey at the end from like storyline. Like I thought that they were leading towards a split, but this was really interesting. And it's just sort of, I don't know. It's like Bailey's being given enough rope to hang herself at this point.
Yeah.
Right. It's like she's being helped out so much that when the fall comes, it will be so hard.
Yeah. I think that they're obviously going for a split up between the two. I'm pretty sure Sasha's coming out the baby face probably, but I don't know. It's fine. I don't know, dude. I just want them to give like more time and more exposure and to this. I just feel like they've gotten not a fair shake at this to build it. They're doing their best with what they're given to build this storyline, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Hopefully they give them the time and the space that we both know that they can craft. Like, and I mean, when they feuded before, Sasha was the heel and Bailey was the babyface. So we're maybe reverse the roles and we get like some kind of a fresh take on it, right?
I would like to see that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Wow. You want to talk about a fresh take?
Mm-hmm.
So our next match is John Cena versus Bray Wyatt. Before I get to even that, this match was made before we knew that there wouldn't be a crowd.
Yeah.
And I absolutely did not like the way that this match happened. The way that the match was made, because it was an episode of SmackDown. John Cena comes out. This was in Boston while I was in Boston.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, I didn't even know SmackDown was going to be here. Damn it. So we were watching it on TV in the hotel room at PAX. And so John Cena's back on SmackDown, which was weird. And he's like, so obviously the question everyone has is, what's John Cena going to do at WrestleMania? And my answer is the right thing, which is that WrestleMania doesn't need John Cena.
Yeah.
And the crowd are like, "Aw." And he's like, "No, I mean, like, you people are always telling me, like, you got to look, people want to look to the future, and I'm not the future, and I shouldn't be there taking a spot from someone who is."
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I mean, like, I like John Cena a lot, and he's entertaining, but I kind of agree with that. So, all right, cool. Good on you. and then he says goodbye and walks up the ramp, and then a bunch of weird visual glitches happen, and then suddenly the Fiend is standing at the top of the ramp, and the Fiend points at the WrestleMania sign, and John looks at the WrestleMania sign and nods, and then that's the end of the show. And it's like what what did you just say?
Wait, like this is like, I mean, obviously something was going to change, because just in the terms of narrative, it's like he comes out near the end of a show and says the thing that disappoints people, and then it's like, but I'm announcing it during a show. That's the kind of thing is like, I'm not going to be somewhere is a non-announcement. So there had to have been a twist, and then the twist is just like, oh, but I am going to be at WrestleMania. That's really all there is.
Yeah.
That's so weird to do that.
That's wrestling.
Yeah.
Wrestling does it all the time.
And so I was like, oh, okay, well, whatever. And then as it went on, it was, and there was going to be no crowd. It was like, well, it's not going to be a normal match. This will be a Firefly Funhouse match. Because if you recall, Beej, that the Firefly Funhouse is Bray Wyatt's children's show.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's Bray Wyatt, who hosts the children's show with his puppets and all of his friends. And he's very happy and, like, hey, what's up? And then there's the Fiend, who is like the evil clown mask, this like murderous beast sort of aspect of Bray Wyatt's personality. And so it's going to be a Firefly Funhouse match. And it's like, what the hell is a Firefly Funhouse match? Because we had a House of Horrors match. Is that what it was called?
I think that's what it was called.
Which was Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton, which was okay. And we talked about that at the time. It was entertaining enough, but I had a lot of the same complaints as I had with the Boneyard match, but way, way more so. Like the Boneyard match I quite enjoyed. The Firefly Funhouse match I felt was a bit of a letdown. House of Horrors, sorry. And so I was like, okay, well, I don't know what this is going to be, but I guess that's happening next. This match.
How do you even start to explain this match?
The word match, also in heavy air quotes. This match, in a word, was hallucinatory.
Yeah. I heard somebody, I don't know Kingdom Hearts, but somebody was like, wow, Cena got Norded.
I saw that
which
too.
will be very relevant for a lot of people. I don't understand it, but
I've never played Kingdom Hearts, but I watched a Polygon video about it, so I get that joke at least.
Yeah.
This really, the way you describe it though makes it sound like it's less like a match and more like Legend of the Crystal Temple.
This is watching John Cena fight, in some cases literally, his inner demons, and a complete deconstruction of his character.
Yeah. So if the Boneyard match was Braveheart, then this match was Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Or like if the Boneyard match was, I'm trying to think, Scarface or something like, I'm trying to think of something more not like,
but like a straightforward kind of, there's a story aspect to it.
Yeah.
If the Boneyard match was those last 22 minutes in They Live, then the Firefly Funhouse match is more like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yes. Yeah.
That's actually a really good comparison.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah. Okay.
Great. I haven't seen any of this, so I can't wait to see how right I am.
All right, Beej, never show me up ever again. You're fucking fired. Get out.
I haven't even seen either of those movies.
Oh, Jesus.
So and I can't describe the depth of my disappointment when John Cena makes his entrance, and it's just the cameras are, because I was positive this was going to be an off-location pre-tape from like somewhere else. I was expecting some creepy house in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
And John Cena's entrance hits, and it's just the ring in the Performance Center, and I was like, oh, wow, I definitely thought this match was not going to be taking place here. Okay. Yeah. And so John Cena comes out and he looks around, and, he's sort of like mugging for the camera a little bit, because he's like, oh, this is, as if to say, like, this is weird with no crowd. All right. And then he looks at the camera, because he generally looks at the camera when he's making his entrances and like yells something about, like, oh, it's time to get going. And he shows off his like,
time to put on your working boots.
Yeah. And then like salutes to the ring and runs down there and everything. And so he's like, well, it's time for wrestle. And then the video cuts, and it goes to a rapid fire montage of like Vince McMahon going WrestleMania and like clips of like WrestleMania's past or whatever.
Mhm.
And then we go to the Firefly Funhouse and Bray Wyatt's there, and he says that there's another world where our darkest urges coexist, where it's like gods and devils are neighbors. Like he says like a lot of really sort of like cryptic stuff. And let's take a deep look at who John Cena really is. And John Cena is about to face his greatest opponent yet, himself, through here. And then he leaves the door in the back of the Firefly Funhouse set.
Yeah.
And I was watching this with Kathleen, and I was like, I hope that John Cena's just like gets teleported there or something, and the camera pulls back wide, and then suddenly John Cena's in the room,
Yeah.
looking very confused.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And so, Ramblin' Rabbit, one of the puppets, is like, "Oh, if you're looking for Wyatt, he went through that door," and the door has like scribbled in like happy, colorful crayon, like "Abandon all hope, ye who exit here," or something like that.
Yeah.
And so, it's like, oh, okay. And John Cena just looks really confused, and he goes out the door. And now John is in darkness.
Yeah.
He's in complete blackness, surrounded by nothing. And the Firefly Funhouse Vince McMahon puppet appears, which has shown up a couple other times. It's a Vince McMahon puppet. I don't even know if it's actually Vince doing the voice or if it's Bray Wyatt doing a Vince impression.
I think it's Bray doing a Vince impression.
He does a good Vince impression.
Yeah.
And he asks John repeatedly, "Do you have enough ruthless aggression to make it in this company? Do you have the ruthless aggression that I need?" You know, he keeps asking him if he has enough ruthless aggression. And he's like, "You better show me or you're fired." And then we see Bray Wyatt in the ring. And then it starts intercutting with footage of Kurt Angle. And Bray Wyatt is cutting this promo word for word that Kurt Angle cut once on an episode of SmackDown years and years ago. And it's cutting back and forth between Bray Wyatt and the footage of Kurt Angle. And they're all saying the same things. You know, basically being like, you know, "I'll challenge anybody back there if anyone thinks they can come out and, you know, and take me on." And the context here is this was John Cena's debut on SmackDown in 2002. And what happened was that John Cena came down to the ring and got in Kurt Angle's face. And Kurt was like, "You know, what makes you think, you know, what do you have that makes you think you can take me, Kurt Angle, on?" And John Cena at the time in 2002 shouted "ruthless aggression" and then attacked him. And at the time, or it's been reflected upon that he, you know, was not great. He like, Kurt had to like get him to smarten up in that moment, and, you know, like maybe went into business for himself a little too much or something. But basically the debut didn't go well from like a backstage perspective.
Okay.
Meaning that to John Cena, the character, the meta character of John Cena, that this is one of his biggest failures. His debut. It didn't go properly. So Bray Wyatt, in using Kurt Angle's words, calls John Cena out, and then we cut to, still in this black void, the giant fist from the old SmackDown set, and John Cena, current John Cena, walks out wearing the like tiny orange trunks and weird little wristbands that he wore in his debut match. And he looks sort of confused, but almost like he can't control what he's doing.
It's fucking awesome, dude. I loved everything about this.
And so he gets into the ring, and just shouts "ruthless aggression" at Wyatt, and he swings at Wyatt, and Wyatt ducks. And he says that this is one of his greatest failures. And then Wyatt starts like taunting him, and then all John Cena can do is yell ruthless aggression and try to swing at Bray Wyatt, who dodges him every single time.
Yeah.
And Wyatt starts like, he starts singing Nikki Bella's theme song.
Yeah.
And they were dating for a long time, and they're no longer together, which is another of John Cena's failures.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fucking wild, dude. So
like a couple of years ago, he proposed to her in the ring at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Right?
Holy
like,
hell.
yeah. And then briefly it cuts to the commentary table, and it's Mercy the Buzzard and the McMahon puppet.
Yeah.
On commentary.
Yeah. And they're doing it says like it's like Macho Mercy, and he's got wear like Macho Man glasses on, like the Buzzard does.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and right, the Mercy the Buzzard. So because I think it's Bray Wyatt who does the voices, so it's Mercy the Buzzard doing a Macho Man impression, and it's just like, what is happening?
Oh,
then suddenly the old opening title theme and video for Saturday night's main event starts playing.
Oh my god!
Which is a banger, by the way.
You probably have seen this footage, Beej, because this is the original opening title sequence to Saturday night's main event.
Old logos and everything.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
And then it cuts to Bray Wyatt behind the old steel cage, like the blue square, square chain, not chain link, but like the old style steel cage.
Yeah.
And Bray Wyatt's there, and he's cutting a 1980s promo, and then talking about his tag team partner. And then John Cena comes in, just like lifting weights the whole time. And
he calls him Johnny Muscle Meat, Head something Meat. His name is like Large Meat. Johnny Large Meat. Yeah, that's what his partner, Johnny Large Meat.
And he cuts this like 1980s promo while he's pumping iron the whole time, and then he just keeps lifting weights and is like, can't stop lifting weights. He's doing these super, super fast reps, and he can't stop. And he's like screaming in pain because he can't stop pumping this iron. And then he finally drops the dumbbells, and his arms are just noodles, and he tries to swing at Wyatt, and he can't use his arms properly. And then Wyatt's like, what you gonna do, brother, when egomania runs wild on you?
Oh my god.
Dude, the best part about that too is like when John Cena was cutting his promo and like lifting the weights, Bray is looking at him, and he mouths "let me in" when he's pumping weights, and Bray's like, "let me in." Like, it's awesome.
Because John Cena also had a failed attempted career as a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So this is another thing. Now we're back on SmackDown, and with the big like SmackDown fist, and the Doctor of Thugonomics music starts playing, and it's like Thugonomics rapper John Cena, right?
Yeah, right.
And he gets in the ring and starts to do rap, right? And he's like, I can't remember the exact lyrics, but it's the very basic but cleverly written John Cena rapping that he used to do. And he the one that he talks about though is he's like, he's like, I'm not ashamed. He essentially says, I'm not ashamed of being the Doctor of Thugonomics or whatever. He says, because unlike Husky Harris, this is a weight I can manage. Husky Harris was Bray Wyatt's name when he debuted on the main roster as part of the Nexus.
Whoa.
Under the tutelage of Wade Barrett. He was on the original version of NXT as Husky Harris.
So is this meant to be that it's like John is trying to fight back?
Yeah.
He's trying to, yeah. And this upsets Wyatt, because Wyatt's basically like, he says that Wyatt's blown every chance he's had, and Wyatt is like, I have had to earn everything that I have ever been given, and it is still taken from me. And John Cena is the golden goose. John Cena has unlimited chances, but he is He is a bully. He takes the weaknesses of others and turns them into jokes. He is a bully, and he would do anything to further himself and his fame. And then he's like, okay. This is your last chance to do right. You know, he's like, I'm giving you an opportunity, John. Look inside yourself, do something right. I give you an opportunity to speak. And he backs up into the corner of the ring and lets him do it. And John Cena, he thinks for a moment. And I don't remember the exact lyrics, but it's the worst line of the night. He rhymes face with face.
Yeah.
Right? It's like it's the rap battle equivalent of you're completely spent and out of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's a childish nothing line. And Wyatt just looks so disappointed. You know? He's just like,
dude.
He's just like, he has this look of like, you had an opportunity to try and to do something here and you failed because you were trying to still get me, basically. And then he charges at Wyatt and it doesn't work. Wyatt disappears. Now we see Wyatt. This just keeps going. Now we see Wyatt as Bray Wyatt, the cult leader, as he debuted in those days with the trilby and the Hawaiian shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about, having the whole world in his hands and Sister Abigail and that whole era of the Bray Wyatt gimmick. And they talk about the match at WrestleMania 30 and saying that this was supposed to be a prophecy fulfilled, but this was his grandest failure, right? Because this was the match at WrestleMania 30 where it was John Cena versus Bray Wyatt, and John Cena won that match.
Yeah.
And general consensus was he should not have won that match because even 6 years ago, John Cena did not need to win the match, and all this did was bury Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
They have the rocking chair. They're in the ring. Wyatt's doing the he's got the whole world in his hand sort of thing, and then he hands John Cena a chair and says he made the wrong choice 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm. The build to this match I remember being awesome too. The WrestleMania 30 match.
Yeah,
because
it was
the way Bray was trying to turn goody two shoes, always do the right thing, John Cena, to have a dark side.
Mm-hmm.
Was awesome,
I remember being so annoyed at the time that John Cena was attacking the gimmick and not the character.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That he was like, you're just you're not a cult leader. You don't have magical powers. You're just some guy in a Hawaiian shirt. Blech. And it's like, God damn it, John. I hate that. Right? That bothered me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so for him to then win and prove everything he said correct, upset a lot of people. Right? A lot of this match is catharsis for longtime fans.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I'm getting that. Yeah.
So they show a clip of that match where Bray Wyatt was on his knees with his arms wide in the middle of the ring going, finish me. And then John Cena in that match hits him with a chair and wins the match. And so here Wyatt hands him a chair.
I thought he never hit him with the chair. That was the decision because he was trying to push John to violence.
Right. Sorry. Yeah.
He never hit Bray with the chair. He was goody two shoes all the way through and beat him fair and square. That was the thing. He was trying to push him to you made the wrong choice. You didn't hit me with this chair 6 years ago. And look what happened with your life. You all your failures, basically.
Yeah. And so he says, you made the wrong decision 6 years ago, so fix it. And gives him a chair and gets down on his knees. And Cena looks furious and swings at him with the chair. He does actually swing. But Wyatt disappears. Then it hits the opening titles of WCW Monday Nitro.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And Bray Wyatt is in the ring acting like Eric Bischoff.
Mm-hmm.
And Wyatt introduces Cena, who comes out with the WCW title spray painted with the NWO thing on it, acting like Hollywood Hogan.
Yes.
Right? Yes, exactly. The Vince McMahon puppet on commentary says, "This is such good shit."
It was fucking bizarre, dude.
Not censored either.
They've made a t-shirt for it now.
That's amazing.
It's like that's just the puppet, and then like a speech bubble saying that's good shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
And we see footage of all of he attacks because what they're like this is making sort of a drawing a parallel between Hollywood Hulk Hogan when Hogan finally turned heel
Right.
and John Cena who never did.
Mhm.
Right.
And he attacks Wyatt in the ring and starts just like punching him on his back, and we see footage of all of Cena's like big losses, like to Undertaker, to The Rock, to CM Punk,
To Miz too.
to Miz, to
Mhm.
Lesnar. Like we see all of his losses.
Right.
And then when we cut back to the ring, Cena's just beating up the pig puppet. Huskus?
Yeah.
Is that the pig puppet?
I
Yeah.
think that's the pig puppet's name. Yeah.
And then he's like, what? He's like realizes what he's doing and is like looks confused. And then behind Cena, for the first time all night, we see the Fiend
Oh,
actually
wow.
finally in the ring with him. And he grabs Cena and hits the sister, hits him with the mandible claw, hits his sister Abigail, puts the mandible claw back on. And then, and this is amazing. So before part of the lead up to the match and Cena's like go home promo, basically, right? Is he's like, look, I don't know what. He's like, I don't understand this whole Fiend thing. I've fought Bray Wyatt before. Like, I'm sick of this thing. We're gonna deal with this. We are going to finally put away the most overhyped, overprivileged, oversaturated wrestler in the history of this business, and he'll finally be dealt with.
Mhm.
And as the Fiend has Cena in the mandible claw, that audio plays of Cena saying, "This match will finally put away the most overhyped,
Yeah.
overprivileged wrestler that the WWE has ever seen."
So
Meaning John Cena.
how long ago did John actually like the go home promo that he cut? How long ago did he cut that? Just a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this is very well scripted.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I mean, it's a sledgehammer. Like, it's not subtle,
No.
but it's
But
very
that's wrestling,
well done.
right? Wrestling
Yeah.
is rarely ever subtle. So
And then, so he has the mandible claw, and basically Cena like passes out, and then Bray Wyatt and the Fiend just is like, "Let me in," and then Cena disappears from the ring, and that's it. That's the match.
also proving in in Firefly Funhouse canon, Bray Wyatt's a referee. He's been
That's true.
trained. Yeah, he's
Right.
classically trained.
I forgot about that. Sorry. The Fiend has John Cena in the mandible claw, holding him down to the mat, and Bray Wyatt counts the pin.
Yeah. Like Bray
Huh.
Wyatt dressed like normal.
Bray Wyatt, as a referee, also in the ring with the Fiend,
Yeah.
counts 1, 2, 3.
It was
I
great.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So God, because it feels so much of what you guys have been talking about with what WrestleMania has been like was
Mhm.
kind of like, it feels there's been some catharsis, but there's been a lot of like what feels like missed opportunities for writing and production to really like go to the next level and use the fact that this is not going to be a live show. And it sounds like they really delivered here.
This was so far beyond anything I expected that they would do. And this is like, this isn't just rewarding long-term storytelling. This is like, this is like laser tuned to people like us.
Yeah.
Who have been watching for a long time and who know all of these things that are being referenced, because it's not just a breakdown of John Cena's screen character. It's a breakdown of this like meta character of John Cena, the man who plays John Cena.
Yeah.
Mm.
and it's like Dean Ambrose said once in that promo when John Moxley as Dean Ambrose at the time were having that promo, and he's like, next week, it's like you're a part-timer now. Next week I'll still be here carrying the company on my shoulders, and you have fun being the guy who plays John Cena on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Wow.
And it's because he was in that montage too, I think. I'm pretty sure the Shield was in that montage.
Yeah.
Which was wild, seeing like shots of John Moxley and CM Punk in that montage.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, absolutely hallucinatory. I need to watch it again.
It's wild.
It felt like the kind of storytelling payoff that I would be foolish to ever hope for.
Like, you make it sound like a retirement match.
It felt that way.
Yeah, it did feel that way.
John Cena started posting nothing but pictures of Bray Wyatt to his Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't know what, like, yeah.
I have this like remarkable feeling from what you've been telling me, because it's like it was not only like, let's break down John Cena, because that's certainly true, but it was also like, let's highlight the weird twists and turns that this company has, like, wrestling as a whole has taken over the last several decades. And if you're a young wrestling fan, you might not know how the 80s went, and you might not really have been around for like NWO era and that kind of stuff. But to be like, but these are touchstones of what happened in the, like, I know about NWO and I was not around for any of that as a fan.
Right.
And it's like it's like to have the writing team say, you know what we need to do is we need to draw on those moments and to show the parallels, and how maybe messed up we were with, like, how messed up the writing was back then for like those kind of things, or how the writing was really sharp and actually did parallel a lot of the things we're trying to get across, that there were failures here in because this is just me. I feel like Hulk Hogan turning heel as late as he did in his career was probably not the time for him to turn heel.
Mm-hmm.
Because it didn't feel like, it felt like it's like, I'm out of gas as a face, so now I guess the only thing left for me to do for people to be interested in me is to turn heel. And I just felt let down, because I was like, because I felt like Hulk Hogan was always a hero to me growing up. So why am I now watching him be a bad guy? That feels so wrong to me.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, the Hogan heel turn was brilliant, and it continues to be brilliant, and it's definitely one of like the big moments in history. I don't think we'll ever see a John Cena heel turn. I would love to see John Cena work as a heel. I mean, when he was first doing the rapper gimmick, he was a heel,
but he went over so big as a face that it was like all of that is forgotten.
Yeah. But I would love to see in 2020 John Cena try to work as a heel. I mean, we all want to see it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would be great. I think it would be something different, but I don't think we'll ever see it, which sucks. But,
Yeah, I mean, it'd be amazing to see what the fallout, if any, from this will be in terms of John Cena's character. But yeah, I certainly didn't think that we'd see a deep psychological interior battle of someone's character as like a pseudo main event of WrestleMania.
And like I said,
absolutely wild.
Like I said with the Boneyard match, like I pray that they maybe even just don't do anything like this ever again, right? It's just like, just leave it at this.
Or there's a limit to how many wrestlers you could even do this to.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you make it a regular thing, it will cheapen it. But maybe they could come back to it someday.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, you made Wyatt look strong.
Yeah, he looks awesome.
You did it, John.
You finally did it.
The meta character of John Cena, the man who plays John Cena on TV, finally did right by putting over Bray Wyatt as a strong competitor. So
yeah, it was good, man. I can't say enough good things about this whole thing. It's just awesome.
Yeah,
you should watch it. You got to find a way to watch it.
Does that mean that also though can just set up Bray Wyatt as being like, because if it's, I always feel like these are like faces and heels, and that's just always what the showdowns are about. But does that mean that Bray just could operate as an entity unto himself?
Yeah. I think that's how they've always kind of set him up.
Mm-hmm.
He's always just been like this third party kind of spooky entity that can show up, and if he sets his sights on you, you're in trouble kind of thing.
Regardless of whether you're face or heel, because he'll never be one or the other.
Yeah. He's just a thing. And he's kind of like Undertaker, right? I mean, Taker worked as heel, like as a heel in his career, but generally now, like from a certain point forward, Taker was just a force of nature, even now still. So I'm hoping that they give Bray that same kind of, like, obviously there's never going to be another Undertaker, right? You can't replace that. You can't fill that hole. But that style of character has room for growth still, I think, in 2020. And I'm hoping that they continue this with Bray and try not to overdo it. I'm surprised that they were able to pull this off so elegantly. Right?
Yeah, honestly.
It wasn't dumb. It wasn't cheap. It was weird, but not too weird. I think it only worked because it was John Cena. If it was anyone else, it wouldn't have worked.
And John Cena, like, bought into this.
Yeah.
Like, he was clearly game for this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thumbs up, dude.
And now your main event?
Yep.
Drew McIntyre challenging Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship.
Mm-hmm. This is a typical. How long is this match? Like 2 minutes? 3 minutes?
Weirdly, it's actually twice as long as the Goldberg match. This was 4.5 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Drew McIntyre won the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, Brock Lesnar was the boss of the first half of the Rumble.
Yeah.
Then Drew McIntyre finally was the one to eliminate him from the Rumble. And so now Drew McIntyre is facing him at WrestleMania. I do want to add, I mentioned it earlier in this episode, but how good Drew has been since the Royal Rumble.
Oh, he's been awesome.
Weird. It's weird that, like, when he won the Rumble, I was like, oh, that's really cool that he won it. Interesting, because they haven't really been doing a lot with him. And we, in fact, talked months ago about how he hadn't won a singles match in God knows how long.
Mm-hmm.
And then weirdly, as soon as he won the Rumble, they were like, we're going to loosen your reins considerably when you're doing your promos. And he's just been natural and affable and been cutting good promos and saying good things and just been entertaining and confident and fun to listen to. And it's like, oh, what a great guy.
Yeah.
What an awesome dude to be the champion. I hope he wins that at WrestleMania. That'll be nice.
Yep.
And he did.
He did. The evil has been defeated again.
You can use that clip again.
All right, dude. The evil has been defeated. Because
wait, hang on. Lord. That's the summary. It's just like there's not much to point out about the match. It's just he won.
Yeah.
It's 4.5 minutes. And again, like any Lesnar match, it was just hitting heavy attack.
Yeah.
Right? It was like spear, F5, no wait, Claymore kick, Claymore pin.
Well, that makes it sound way better than it actually was. The match was like whatever, but it's like, I'll say what I said about Goldberg, but beat it Brock Lesnar, never fucking come back. Okay, just go away for a long time.
To be fair, the best part about Brock Lesnar in this match was him looking flabbergasted when Drew kicked out. Drew kicked out of an F5 at 1.
Yeah,
it was like 1 kick out, and Brock looked like he'd seen a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
And after the actual pinfall, Brock lay there in the ring like he was dead.
Yeah.
The whole time that McIntyre was celebrating.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good on you, Brock.
Good on you, Brock.
When he sells, he does it.
Yeah.
And yeah, Heyman looked absolutely shocked. Like, hey, I love, so there's a bit, McIntyre kicked out at 1, and then Brock hit him with another F5, and McIntyre kicked out at 2, and sort of is like, what the hell? And looks over at Heyman, and Heyman's like, hit him again. Do it again. Yeah. He can't keep doing it. He kicked out at 1, then he kicked out at 2. Well, what happens next? He can't keep kicking out of them.
He can't.
And
It's getting away with it.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, you make a good point there, Heyman.
Yeah.
Wasn't there like a match like a while ago where you said somebody kicked out of like 4 or 5 F5s?
That was Roman.
Roman Reigns, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I'm just happy that Drew McIntyre is the champion. What a bummer that he couldn't win it in front of a crowd, because the top would have come off the stadium. But although I don't know where the venue was, it was probably doesn't have a roof anyway. But I hope he holds on to the title until there are audiences again, so that he can have a crowd react to him entering as champion.
Yeah. I think they will.
Yeah.
Feels like something that they're going to just kind of go all in on until things settle down. I think things are going to stay pretty stable as far as like who is champions and like storylines going forward, or kind of just
I think so.
going to be run of the mill stuff. I mean, we have Money in the Bank coming up, so.
Yeah. Did you know there was a dark match
for WrestleMania?
For WrestleMania?
Really?
Yeah. Like after that match?
No.
Yeah. It aired as part of the Raw after Mania.
Okay.
It was Drew McIntyre. It was immediately following the Lesnar match. It was McIntyre defending the title.
Yeah.
Against the Big Show.
Holy shit. Could you imagine if they had Big Show beat him? Holy fuck, dude. That's the kind of thing I would do. That's why you should never you should never give me access to a fucking script for anything, because I'm gonna fuck it up. I'm gonna fucking do something stupid. I'm like, ha ha ha, ha, that's funny, right? Like, you know, let's just piss on months worth of work. Yeah,
you'll have Smarks on the Squared Circle subreddit just being like, "This has Savadan's sticky thumbprints all over it."
Yeah, because I just want to. Some people just want to watch the world burn, Graham, and I know that's me. I don't know, man. I love.
So trust me, I'm keenly aware of your desire to watch the world burn.
Well, it sounds intensely personal.
You have not kept it a very good secret. Let's be fair.
I mean, it happened. I think it was a couple of years ago at WrestleMania when I was like, man, what if Brock just wins when he beat Roman?
Yeah.
We were leading up to it. I was like, man, I hope he just wins just because. And then Lesnar won, beat Roman after that was the Roman kicked out of like 30 F5s or whatever, only to lose. But I don't know. Sometimes I just like to see the option that none of us actually want happen, because I like to watch people react to it. So does that make me a bad? Oh God, does that make me a bad person? You don't have to answer that question.
So overall, WrestleMania was.
It was good.
It's just push past whatever Adam's talking about.
Yeah, what is Adam talking about?
You're just going to end up in the funhouse yourself, I have a feeling.
Holy shit.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, yeah. Yeah, I deserve it, you know?
Overall, WrestleMania was super weird, and we will not see its like again,
no.
I expect.
No, ever again.
Yeah. I don't know what... I don't know what will happen going forward. I don't know where they go from any of these points, but what a strange and weird thing.
This was Mr. Toad's wild ride.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Did not know what to expect.
Yeah.
And like some of it was like just sort of mediocre, some of it was really cool, and some of it was absolutely effing bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah. And it wouldn't have worked in any other, I think in any other timeline, if you gave us this WrestleMania, like with a crowd and then still did the pre-shot stuff, I don't think it would have hit as cleanly. Yeah. Right? Like if you had given us the same exact WrestleMania, put it in a stadium of 100,000 and then show us this pre-tape footage ahead of time, like during the show, I don't think it's as good.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. So,
yeah.
There you go. Hope you enjoy your 3+ hour podcast.
Yeah.
It's about as long as one night of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for joining us and probably listening to it in chunks.
Mm-hmm.
This has been, it's been a wild ride for us too. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know what our next episode is going to be. Maybe we got to talk about AEW some more. Maybe Money in the Bank. Who knows?
Everything's going on break, I think. Like they've taped a few things for shows, but there's a strong chance that Florida is getting locked down. So that's where the Performance Center is. So there's talk that it just might stop. The wrestling might stop.
But
I know.
But morale has not improved.
I know, Graham. But I think there is a strong chance that wrestling might just stop for a little bit.
Well, I heard that AEW went absolutely balls to the wall and pre-taped enough content to carry them through until partly into May.
Holy crap.
That's wild.
Yeah, they were like, what might happen? Okay, go. And they had 2 different locations that they taped a whole bunch of stuff at. I think they've had one like cinematically shot location match each week for the past several weeks. I don't know. I'm way behind on Dynamite.
I'm a couple of weeks behind, but
so I don't know. We'll see. You know what? You'll get on the same schedule that it's been up to now. Sidewalk Slam will happen when it happens. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Until then, I've been Graham, and you can find me on Twitter at Graham_LRR.
Hi, and I'm Adam, and you can find me on Twitter at WakeUpSuper.
Beej, do your own thing. You're here.
Yeah, do it your fucking self.
You just always do it for me, and I kind of like it when it's like, you can find me. I'm Beej at Beej chat.
You can't even do it yourself. You can never give us trouble.
I'm clearly doing it on purpose.
You suckered me. You hooked me with like one of those big fishing rods that they used to catch marlin.
God. At Beej at octodon.social, or if you really need to get me on Twitter, because I can get got at TuxBeej.
Yeah.
And this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun. Shout outs to Adam for the editing on this one.
Yeah.
It's not going to be quick.
One. Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll talk to you all next time.
Bye.